Is part of the argument that Ben Carson was responding to when he had this to say.
Should a president's faith matter? Should your faith matter to voters?
Well, I guess it depends on what that faith is. If it's inconsistent with the values and principles of America, then of course it should matter. But if it fits within the realm of America and consistent with the Constitution, no problem.
Yeah, I think the short answer is the president's faith, of course, matters. Of course it matters. Every elected official's faith matters. And the idea that you should, that's just their personal business is their faith when they are holding themselves out for public office. No, it's not. Because
so religion and politics go hand in hand. I mean, it says a lot about a person when you find out what religion they're a part of and if they're practicing.
It's a simple proposition. I mean, it's a simple question I guess people have to contemplate. Do you think someone's faith, if they're serious about it, informs their judgment and thus the decisions they will make? I think they're inextricably linked. That's not to say that is different than saying, I'm going to impose my faith tradition and inculcate it into law, and we're going to set up a Christian theocracy or a Jewish theocracy or an Islamic theocracy. That is different, and these issues are often conflated. The issue is not establishing a caliphate or a theocracy in the United States, depending on whose religion we're talking about. The issue is, does someone's religion inform how they live their lives and thus their judgment and thus the policy choices they would make? Of course it does.
312-642-5600. There's calls this morning from American Islamic Group asking Ben Carson to give it up, to drop out of the race because they are so upset by what he said. Here's Ibram Hooper.
It shouldn't be just American Muslims who are calling for Mr. Carson to withdraw or at least to repudiate these kinds of un-American comments. It should be our nation's political and religious leaders from all parts of the political spectrum.
Yeah, I'm sure Ben Carson will give that the consideration it deserves. Now let's
But he went out and apologized too, and I don't know if he needed to apologize.
Well, let's hear what Ben Carson actually said on the issue of a Muslim in charge. We heard what he said about faith and its relevance to a selection for president. Now let's hear what he said specifically to the question of Muslim.
So do you believe that Islam is consistent with the Constitution?
No, I don't. I do not. I would not advocate that we put a Muslim in charge of this nation. I absolutely would not agree with that.
That's the thrust of his statement. Let's go to Rick in Valpo. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning.
Morning.
I would just like to say that the Republicans are the only ones that are going to be asked that question. You'd never hear anybody ask a Democrat if they would ask that type of question. And if the Democrat were asked, the answer would be obvious. Whatever works for you works for me.
Right. Thanks for the call, Rick. Appreciate it. John in Garden Prairie, Illinois.
Yeah, hi, Dan. How are you?
Good.
This is very, very, very important to America. And the fact that we're even having this debate is really problematic. America is in a battle right now between religion. It's Christian versus Muslim. And there's no doubt about it. There's no two ways about it. If we don't think this out and we become a Muslim nation, we're screwed.
Thanks for the call, John.
The following show is almost a complete accident.
Forecast for today, just a string of gorgeous days. No rain in the forecast all week. Today we'll have plenty of sunshine, a high of 71. And by the end of the week, we could hit 80 degrees. Let's get the travel times and say good Monday morning to Jim Telemonte.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. Downers Grove got a house fire, 6100 block of South Janes, or this is just south of Hobson Road on Janes Avenue in Downers Grove. North side of Chicago starting today. Southbound Sheffield closes at Diversey for sewer work scheduled into October. In Geneva, there's a closure of 31 starting today from 3rd and South Street for rail work. Outbound Kennedy at Augusta, there was a crash. It quickly cleared. Traffic is flowing nicely on the outbound Kennedy. No delays to report yet. You can expect that to change shortly. A lot of folks headed toward O'Hare. Edens, Eisenhower, just fine. The Rhine is looking okay. A little heavy now approaching downtown. No delays to report on the tollways on I-80 or Northwest Indiana. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow. And like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat. I would flip-flop all night long. I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you can move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep REM sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed. It's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry my pillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. And here's my best offer ever. You can buy one of my pillows and get one absolutely free.
To get your 2 MyPillows for the price of one, call 800-489-0201 and please use the promo code Amy. Or you can go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code Amy. That's 800-489-0201 or online at MyPillow.com. Either way, don't forget the promo code AMY.
Past performance is no guarantee of future results. Stock trading involves risk. Visit Zacks.com/performance for more information.
Would you like your investments to make more than 20% a year? Well, since 1988, through good times and bad, our Zacks #1 ranked strong buy stocks have generated an average annual return of 26% a year. That's nearly 3 times the S&P 500. And now, in our new book, we're revealing how we pick the stocks that consistently beat the market. And if you're one of the first 250 callers, we'll send you a copy of this book for free. Elite investors pay millions of dollars per year to access our stock picks. Our book will show you how we pick our stocks for free. Don't settle for average market returns when you could make Zacks returns. Call now for your free book and discover our proven way to consistently beat the market. Find out how to get your free book at 1-800-600-1932. That's 1-800-600-1932. 1-800-600-1932.
Here's Dr. Howard, formulator of Balance of Nature, an all-natural, 100% organic fruit and vegetable supplement.
Did you know 40% of all cancer could be prevented? That's a fact. Along with maintaining appropriate body weight and regular exercise, the American Institute for Cancer Research and the USDA confirm that eating 9 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables every day is the key. Now ask yourself, am I at risk? How many servings of fruits and vegetables did I eat today? Balance of Nature has solved this problem and provides an easy and affordable way to consume over 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables every day.
Get real today with Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy. And so what Ben Carson had to say over the weekend, this question, and I agree with Rick from Valpo, that it's a question that would only be asked of Republicans. There's no question about that. It also triggered more discussion over the weekend of Donald Trump, whether or not he should have corrected that gentleman who went after the president went after Muslims in general at his town hall last week.
You mean this guy?
So I'm really honored by the crowd, and we're going to have some fun now, because instead of making a speech, which I've been doing over and over and over, I want to take questions. Don't we like that, right? Okay. All right, let's start with this group right over here. Come on. Okay, this man, I like this guy.
I'm from White Plains. Amen. Okay? We have a problem in this country. It's called Muslims. We know our current president is one. Right. You know he's not even an American.
We need this
birth
question.
certificate, man. But anyway, we have training camps growing where they want to kill us.
Mm-hmm.
That's my question. When can we get rid of
We're going to be looking at a lot of different things. And, you know, a lot of people are saying that, and a lot of people are saying that bad things are happening out there. We're going to be looking at that and plenty of other things.
Oof.
Yeah.
Looking at what? That we have training camps here in the States, or looking at deporting Muslims? I mean, obviously, a lack of substance. We don't know exactly what Trump meant. I think he was taken a little off by the guy's question. You know, he's trying to befriend him. Hey, I like this guy. What do you have to say? Ooh. When he started asking the question.
Well, the issue is a presidential candidate or any politician responsible for anything, everything anyone says who's a supporter, who asks us a question in the context of a town hall. My answer to that is no. But
when you were running for governor, what was the craziest question people asked you?
Why are you running? Yeah.
What was your answer? Well, you
spoke to my mental health.
No, but I mean, did you ever have some radical or crazy like that ask you something really left field?
Well, in 2010, that was the height of the so-called birther movement, and so Eric Zorn asked us, "Do you believe the president is a Muslim, or no? Do you think do you believe the president was born in the United States?" That was the question.
All right, and your answer?
My answer was ask Kirk Diller because he's the one who endorsed him. And but the point is, on this though is to that question of is Donald Trump responsible for everything everyone says? No, of course not. Of course not. Was it an opportunity for him to demonstrate more adulthood than he's demonstrated in this campaign by saying, let's take saying what Ben Carson said yesterday at Meet the Press. The president says he's a Christian, and I have no reason to believe he's not. Essentially, I take him at his word. I don't know what it's in his heart. That would have been a more sensible answer for Trump to give, but that's not the same thing as saying he's responsible or somehow culpable for not pushing back. The problem with Trump, and the reason that he takes more heat on this maybe than another candidate would, well, there's twofold. One, he's the front runner. Right. Two is because of that clown act he did 4 years ago when he was going to unveil the real birth certificate of President Obama, and that was a big nothing burger press conference he had. So,
well, didn't he chopper it in on his Trump helicopter and land in a hangar? And
yeah, what did he chopper in though?
He choppered himself in, but in his attitude in his mouth. But I think that was it.
Right, it was silliness, and it may. I mean, so I think perhaps there's less of a benefit of the doubt for him than there would be for another. But these questions have some policy relevance, and the relevance is over the weekend, the White House, the regime, announced that they are going to be increasing the number of refugees this country will take in to 100,000 by the year 2017, an increase over the current cap of 70,000. This is Secretary of State John Kerry saying this on Sunday.
See, and then recently they're saying 100,000 plus the 75,000 that they already pledged. So by 2017, we'll have a total of 175,000 Syrian refugees. Now, which ones are going to choose? How are they going to choose which ones are going to come here? They said the ones who have families already established in the United States that they could live with. That's, they're going to take them first. But are they going to be properly vetted?
Well, it's not limited to Syrians. Let's be clear.
Okay, right.
This is an artificial number. One of the questions I always have with these numbers that are set by the government by fiat, how do you know? How do you come up? And it's always round numbers. How did you come up with 100,000? Why not 99.5? Why is 99.5 too few? Is 106.7 too many? How do you know? What is the calculus that is used to come up with this figure 100,000, or is this just press release politics? And I suspect it's the latter. But to the extent that it is Syrians or other nations that are dealing with civil unrest and thus individuals are seeking political asylum in the United States, but that is the question that you asked, which is how do we make sure we're allowing families who are truly innocents caught in the crossfire and mean to do America no harm access to this country under the kind of regime of political asylum, and not allowing those who mean to do us harm in. And we've seen a lot of images from throughout Europe where, boy, it doesn't look like a lot of families on some of these trains and some of these border conflicts. It looks like a lot of young, angry men.
Well,
we got enough young, angry men in this country.
And they're separating the men and the women, the men from the women and the children, to try and create order. At least that's what they're doing near the Croatian border. And it's just a big, hot mess over there. And I don't know how it's going to end because they keep coming. And where they're all trying to go to Germany, well, soon Germany's not going to be able to handle more. 22,000 arrived on Saturday.
Well, yeah, and you have other countries responding less charitably. The Hungarians not real excited to have the Serbs pouring over their border. I mean, people are battening down the hatches, so to speak. So this is going to be very interesting. And by the way, just on a related note to this story, New York Times reporting at McDonald's is gathering a number of like-minded corporate organizations to raise money to help the United Nations Food Program to respond to the migrant crisis in Europe and the Middle East. Companies like DreamWorks, MasterCard, Facebook, and so forth. So, I mean, it's a nice PR opportunity for corporate America. But again, are we funding feckless organizations that don't deliver what they promise? You know, this is what we do with government. We always look at the inputs and we congratulate ourselves for the inputs, and we never look at the results. I'd like to see those two connected a little bit more often than we see them connected.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I was coming out of the hardware store when I saw him. An old man, late 70s, hunched over in the freezing rain, no hat on his head, limping across that slippery parking lot, and pushing a row of shopping carts toward the cart corral. It's heartbreaking. Millions of hardworking Americans simply don't have enough money to retire, so they just keep working and working and working until it's too late. Hi, I'm Chad Stubbs, President and CEO of PowerTrader, and I believe that's just plain wrong. That's why I'm now distributing to the public absolutely free copies of PowerTrader's game-changing book on how regular folks can make the money they need to retire fast. For your free copy, call 1-800-400-0360. Don't let the lack of money rob you of your retirement. Call now for details and get your free copy of this book before it's too late. 1-800-400-0360. But hurry while supplies last. 1-800-400-0360. 1-800-400-0360.
So often on the show, we talk about the important issues that affect your world, things like the economy, education, foreign policy. And on this show, because there's always so much going on, we don't always have the time to drill down and talk about the big ideas behind the big issues. It's one of the reasons I'm involved with a new website, along with the Illinois Policy Institute, called Upstream Ideas, online at upstream-ideas.com. At Upstream Ideas, you'll find info that will inform some of the policy discussions that we're having here on this show and elsewhere. At Upstream Ideas, we broaden the parameters of debate and move beyond the same old partisan assumptions. We challenge accepted orthodoxies and debunk some of the faulty premises that inform the rules on which our free society is based. In other words, we're pushing against the current and thinking upstream. Remember Pope John Paul II in his Roman triptych. If you want to find the source, you have to go up against the stream. We'll ask, why are conditions the way they are, and how can those conditions be improved? Go online now to upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. With each visit to Upstream Ideas, you'll be armed with new info and fresh perspectives to spur you on to make the state of Illinois and the good old USA a bit more free, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized.
AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, why Hillary Clinton says she's just a real person like you and me.
And Debbie Wasserman Schultz, a.k.a. Todd Christensen, booed in New Hampshire over the weekend. We want debates. We want debate.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom to say good Monday morning to our good friend Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. The UN General Assembly will soon take its annual vote to condemn the more than half-century-old U.S. trade embargo against Cuba. And 4 officials in Washington say officials in Washington are thinking about abstaining from that vote. That's tantamount to accepting that condemnation. It is unheard of for a UN member state not to oppose resolutions critical of its own laws. If the administration follows through, they believe they could tend to isolate Congress, which is refusing repeated requests to scrap the embargo. Pope Francis wraps up his visit in Cuba today. He has met with Raul and Fidel Castro and has not encountered any Cuban dissidents. More homes have fallen to 2 big wildfires north of San Francisco. Fire officials there say one of those fires destroyed another 162 homes, bringing the overall total from both blazes to nearly 1,600 homes charred. Seattle teachers have made the end of their week-long strike official. They've ratified a labor contract between the union and the district. The walkout began on September 9. An Olympic-level gymnastics coach is accused of molesting one of his students and now is dead. The body of Marvin Sharp found in his Indiana jail cell. Officials say he had died from an apparent suicide. At the Emmy Awards, Game of Thrones has won for Best Drama Series. The win announced by actor-comedian Tracy Morgan, who made a triumphant return after being seriously hurt last year in a vehicle accident. And Viola Davis became the first African-American performer to win Best Dramatic Actress for how to get away with murder.
The only thing that separates women of color from anyone else is opportunity. You cannot win an Emmy for roles that are simply not there.
Viola Davis. Officials in DuPage County say they've arrested a man on charges that he sexually assaulted and then stabbed to death a 15-year-old girl 30 years ago. We will receive more information on this story throughout the morning. Teachers in Prospect Heights, District 23, remain on strike, leaving 1,500 students out of the classroom for a fourth straight day. And Governor Bruce Rauner has announced his administration has reached an agreement to terminate the contract of the North Star Lottery Group, the private company managing the Illinois Lottery. The governor's general counsel says a new private manager will take over day-to-day operations of the lottery by January of 2017. Chicago sports, Cleveland over the White Sox, 6-3. St. Louis over the Cubs, 4-3. NFL, Bears fall to Arizona at Soldier Field, 48-23. The news service of UPSJobs.com. UPS is seeking part-time package handlers in Northbrook and Palatine, offering competitive pay and an attractive benefits package with up to $25,000 in educational assistance. UPS actively promotes from within. Apply today at upsjobs.com/radio. 5:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
AM 560 has a new mobile app, and it can do a lot of cool things. The best thing it can do? It can send you on a vacation to paradise. Download or upgrade to the new AM 560 mobile app between now and October 9th, and you'll be able to enter to win an all-expenses-paid trip to Cancun for a week-long stay at the all-inclusive Secrets, the Vine Resort, courtesy of Apple Vacations. Just go to 560theanswer.com/mobile to get the app today and download Paradise. Presented by Permaseal.
How do you pregame on football Sunday? With a B-Dubs Bloody Hail Mary, of course. It won't just wake you up, it'll keep you going. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. Drink responsibly.
The sounds of an accident. You or a loved one has been injured. Your mind is racing. What happened? Is everyone okay? What now?
I'm Dan Compton of Compton Law Group. We know that at a time like this, you want answers. More importantly, you want justice for what has taken place. If you or a loved one has been injured, please, before you sign something or talk to anyone, call Compton Law Group. This is our specialty, fighting for your rights, fighting for you, and making sure that justice is served. You can reach me at 847-742-6100. That's 847-742-6100. It's my job to make sure that you, your family, and your loved ones are protected and compensated properly. We handle nursing home accidents, car, truck, and motorcycle accidents, construction accidents, and medical malpractice.
When accidents happen, and they will happen, make sure you have Compton Law Group on your side. 847-742-6100 or online at ComptonLawGroup.net. When accidents happen, take the appropriate action with Compton Law Group, located in Elgin and serving all of Chicagoland.
5:34 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Downers Grove, there's a house fire, Janes Avenue, just south of Hobson. At Warrenville, a crash on Batavia Road at Warrenville Road. Traffic is getting heavy approaching O'Hare on westbound 190. Stop and go from River Road to Manheim. It's getting heavier in the terminal area as well. The main lanes of the Kennedy are fine. Edens, Eisenhower looking good. Stevenson as well. The inbound Ryan has a 3-minute delay from 18th into the Burns Circle. Bishop Ford just a little heavy approaching the merge. There is a little bit of road work on the eastbound Adams Tollway. This is between Roselle Road and 53. 2 right lanes are closed till 6 this morning. Prepare to slow down there. Traffic is a service. City of Chicago's Blue Cart Recycling Program. Chicago, you can recycle empty plastic bottles and soda cans through your Blue Recycling Cart. Visit chicagorecycles.org to learn more. Remember, recycling, it's not trash. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Pleasant, sunshine-filled day ahead, 71. Clear and 50, and a beautiful day tomorrow. Sunny and 76. 54 at O'Hare, 62 along the lakefront. Next news at 6, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Radio Garden Sense, a show bringing your property's gardening needs alive. Radio Garden Sense, Sunday mornings at 11 on AM 560, The Answer.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so Hillary Clinton was on Face the Nation over the weekend.
Who's the new host?
John Dickerson.
That's right.
Demonstrating her well-choreographed spontaneity and good humor.
Yeah, because it's a new Hillary. She has a new personality. She signed up for one last week.
As well, you'll hear from Hillary first, and then we'll hear from Iowa Hawk in response. Here's Hillary summing herself up in 3 words or so.
Give us 3 words that is the real Hillary Clinton. Just 3.
Just 3. I can't possibly do that. I mean, look, I am a real person with all the pluses and minuses that go along with being that. And I've been in the public eye for so long that I think, it's like the feature that you see in sometimes. Real people actually go shopping, All
right. Well, I'm going to have to really interrupt you. Thank you, Secretary Clinton.
That cackle is blood-curdling.
Were they at a bar or they were on set when he asked her that? How do you describe yourself?
She is so much fun. She's just so much fun.
Well, she shops and,
Iowa Hawk,
like everybody else.
Iowa Hawk's response was Turing test fail.
What was it?
A Turing test fail, the Alan Turing test, imitation game. The Turing test is, of course, getting a machine to exhibit intelligent behavior like an actual human. So that failed there. Hillary Clinton trying to show off her fun-loving side.
Yeah.
Wonder how compelling that is. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 646-36DA, turnkey.pro, text line.
Did he ask any more substantive questions besides describe yourself in 3 words?
Well,
or was that just? Because that's the takeaway everyone's getting. Because the headline is Hillary Clinton's a real person. Look at how real she is. She goes shopping. She goes to see her. She changes diapers, Dan. She's just like us.
Right, Grandmama Hillary.
G-Ma.
Actually, Larry Johnson was a little bit more feminine as Grandmama than Hillary Clinton is. But she was also asked about being an outsider. Well, to the point, actually being an insider.
Okay.
And she says she's the most outsiderist of outsiders. Listen to this explanation.
In the politics this year, it looks like everybody wants an outsider. Now, that puts you in a fix.
I don't think,
doesn't put you in a fix. Tell us why it doesn't put you in a fix.
I cannot imagine anyone being more of an outsider than the first woman president. I mean, really, let's think about that.
Now, I agree, but
if
your
you
name,
line up, all these mothers and fathers bring me the placemats with all the presidents, and they bring their daughters, and they say, my daughter has a question for you, and the daughter says, how come there are no girls on this placemat? So
I agree that is a difference.
I think that's a pretty big unconventional choice.
What, did somebody slip her a roofie? I mean, she sounds drunk or something. Like
she's a party girl. The daughters also ask her. The daughters that bring those placements also ask her, "Why did you have a private email server set up?" Now she doesn't answer that, but she does answer the woman question. And I'll tell you what,
that's not an outsider. I mean, she's had Secret Service protection for 27 years now. She's such an insider.
Yeah, well, I hope Hillary Clinton runs as an outsider because she's a woman. I hope she does because it is laughable. It is farcical.
She's not the first person.
And so go ahead and do that. And by the way, this also distinguishes Hillary from Carly Fiorina. Hillary, because she has such a dismal record, because she is such a dismal person, she has to run on her gender. You don't hear Carly Fiorina running around saying, "Let's make history, elect the first female president," because she's not going to degrade herself that way. I'm qualified for the job. Here's my record. Here's my vision. That is a much different approach that Carly Fiorina is taking, who also happens to be a woman, than is Hillary Clinton taking with her cackle and her cankles. Phil on the northwest side of Chicago. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Could address. There's a big problem I wish you guys could address is the military age of the Muslim immigrants coming over, male Muslim immigrants, and also another problem that even if there was no military threat from that area of the world. When the current administration keeps overwhelming us with immigrants, no matter if it's from there or any other place in the world, and we're in a service economy, it starves everybody for jobs. I wish you guys would touch down on how much control the Democrats have over immigration, social programs, and the unions. And I wish you guys would hold Hillary's laughs off until Halloween.
Yes, thanks for the call, Phil. I prefer not to refer to those individuals coming over as Muslims or refugees or migrants. I prefer to refer to them as Hillary voters, because that's essentially what the Democrats have in mind. There's no question about that. In terms of
they're buying their votes because they want to give them an easy path to citizenship because they want to make them Democrats.
Right, and we talked about that last week. There's a press-on for 8 million legal residents to fast-track those individuals for citizenship, maybe sometime between now and November of 2016.
But that's what Bill Clinton did in 1995, I believe, when he was up for re-election. Anyone who possessed a green card automatically became an American citizen.
Dead or alive.
That helped him get 4 million more votes.
Molly Ball was on Meet the Press yesterday talking about Hillary Clinton's persona, her
the new one or the old one?
Quote-unquote ideology. Molly Ball from The Atlantic. No, not part of the vast right-wing conspiracy, I'll tell you that. She wrote an expansive piece on Hillary last week, and she encapsulated it for us nicely on Meet the Press yesterday.
Molly, you went through all this earlier this week. You wrote a fascinating piece, and it's sort of like they can talk all they want about repackaging Clinton, trying to present her in a different way, but ultimately Hillary is Hillary. And what you see is what you get.
She is, and at the same time, you talk about her having trouble coming out from under Bill's shadow, coming out or separating herself from Obama, and it's because she herself is not very well defined for people. And, her campaign keeps trying to make this not about her, make it more about the policy or the substance. That's the ground she's most comfortable on. Mm-hmm. But it's always going to be about her, and she has trouble creating an image of herself in people's minds that really stands out. And so you have her saying things like, I'm comfortable in the center, I want to bring everybody together. Her new line, now that she's stopped saying everyday Americans because they decided that was weird, it is a little weird. So the new line is, I want to
every other day Americans, who are they, right?
Right, I personally am a weekend American, that's how I identify. But so she's got this new line that I want to be the president who's about the issues that you see on your TV screen and the issues that keep you up at night. And so she's literally saying to people, I'm for whatever you're for. And that's my identity.
I'm for whatever you're for. The chameleon.
That's the new slogan. I'm for whatever you're for.
Well, it's not the formal slogan, but Molly Ball is cutting through the pap to get to the point. And that's exactly what it is. I thought her point is so interesting because I hadn't really considered it that way before. But think about that. Hillary Clinton, I've been in the public eye for so long, for 25 years, this and that. Yes, that's all true. And yet there is no definition to her, really. Not in terms of like a substantive value proposition. A vote for Hillary Clinton is a vote for fill in the blank. A vote for law.
A vote for what?
Lawlessness. I mean, it's nothing positive, I guess, is the point. It connotes a lot of things that are negative, but it doesn't connote anything that has been consistent throughout her 2.5 decades.
Did she do anything productive when she was senator of New York? Was she just towing the company line? Did she write or author any bills, any legislation? What did she do as Secretary of State? Obviously, even Democrats, hardcore Democrats, can't name one accomplishment as Secretary of State.
I reject the premise that it's possible to do something important as a U.S. Senator.
I was born to a middle-class family in the middle of the country, in the middle of the last century. And it's true.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Plenty of sunshine today, a high of 71 degrees, 57 right now at O'Hare. Tonight, clear and a low of 50. And then tomorrow, mostly sunny, another beautiful day, a high of 76. Let's get the travel times and see if there's any sticky spots. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. Kennedy outbound getting heavy. It's the Monday morning rush to O'Hare. Traffic is stop and go from Cumberland to 190, and the delays continue on 190 from the Kennedy to Manheim. It's about 22 minutes downtown to O'Hare and the Kennedy. Then add in those delays on 190. It's getting congested in the terminal area also. The inbound Kennedy's fine. Eden's clear. Inbound Eisenhower. Now got a 2-minute delay from Manheim to First Avenue. Inbound Stevenson, a 3-minute delay. Harlem to Pulaski. The Ryan slow from 18th into downtown. Bishop Ford, about a 4 or 5-minute delay from 111th to the Ryan. Tollways are fine, and no delays are reported in northwest Indiana or southern Wisconsin. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
Summer is here, and your business can't afford mechanical issues with its HVAC system. You also don't want just anyone doing the job. When you want the best trained and skilled team, you want Air Comfort, Chicagoland's leading full-service mechanical HVAC and refrigeration provider. Each year, Air Comfort invests in ongoing staff training to keep up with changes in technology and products. Why is training so important? Because Air Comfort understands that doing the job the right way the first time is just the beginning of a long-term relationship with its clients. That's why Air Comfort is a proud supporter of the UA Standard of Excellence and is certified as a star contractor by MSCA. With more than 80 fully equipped vehicles, chances are that an Air Comfort technician is nearby to serve your HVAC needs. For more than 80 years, Air Comfort has earned the trust of thousands of customers with businesses just like yours. To find out more, call 708-345-1900 or visit them online at aircomfort.com.
This is Dan Proft with an Upstream Idea, brought to you in part by the Illinois Policy Institute. 66. That's the percentage of fourth graders in the state of Illinois who neither read nor do math at a fourth grade level. 2/3 of the children among the 2.1 million grammar school students in the state are falling behind before they get to fourth grade. Is this a state spending problem? State spending on K through 12 education has increased by more than 60% in real terms during the past 2 decades. Perhaps it's how the money is spent rather than how much of it is spent. And perhaps it's time to rethink how we do K through 12 education in the 21st century. Things like at what grade level we teach foreign languages, in what order do we teach science, and the length of the school day. This should sound an alarm for those in charge of funding and administering K through 12 education in Illinois to finally force real system change. For more ideas like this, visit upstream-ideas.com. That website, upstream-ideas.com. I'm Dan Proft.
Meet Lawrence, Rachel, and Pam. They're making serious money on their schedule driving with Uber.
I was looking for something that was convenient and something that would help me to reach my financial goals.
The first time I turned the app on was because I was going to visit my sister and thought I should probably make some extra cash so that when I'm on my trip, I'll have spending money. And then I had $400.
With Uber, you can write your own paycheck. It's just that simple. If you want to go out and make $20 a day, you can. If you want to go out and make $500 a day, it's up to you.
I love the convenience of it. I log on when I'm available and log off when I'm not, and it's very, very easy to do.
You sign up, and you start earning money right away, like the next day.
Just get in your car and you drive, but I like driving my car.
Turn it off when you want to make money, you turn it off when you don't.
This is the best decision I made. It's a no-brainer, really.
What are you waiting for?
Thanks, folks. To start making great money with your car, sign up to drive today at drivewithuber.com. That's drivewithuber.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up next, it's me, Mike Gallagher, right after Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560, The Answer.
So there was a Democrat Party convention in New Hampshire on Saturday.
Anyone arrested, Dan? Any disorderly conduct?
Not that I know of. Probably not a lot of bathing. But Debbie Wasserman Schultz, she of the Todd Christensen hairdo.
Stop it.
Rest in peace.
She can't help it.
Rest in peace, Todd Christensen.
Oh, he died?
Yeah.
Oh.
He passed away a couple years ago.
I didn't know.
She's keeping his memory alive through her hairstyle, which I one thing I respect about her. She was on the dais, and the attendees got a bit restless. They want more debates, or any debates,
or else,
because they're not so happy with their perceived frontrunner. Although maybe their perceived frontrunner is Bernie Sanders at this point. I'm not sure. Now the question I have is, when you hear this chant for more debates, are they asking for more debates among their presidential candidates? Or are they asking for debates to discuss the difference, if there is any, between a Democrat and a socialist? Because that seems to be the debate that is besetting Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Here's DWS at the dais. Okay. Here's DWS. Let's try that again.
So they interrupted her speech with "We want debates."
Yeah, and she responded after a few minutes of that by saying, is it more important to focus on the Republicans or to focus on debates? And the reaction to that was mixed. So there's some restless natives in the Democrat Party with the handling of their primary. And it's very interesting because you see this pushback against the establishment. You certainly see it on the Republican side. But the underreported story is the same thing as happening on the Democrat side. Obviously, Bernie Sanders is indicative of that, but so is the treatment of Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She's none too popular, and she's still wrestling with this question.
What is the difference between a Democrat and a socialist? I used to think there was a big difference. What do you think it is?
The difference between
a Democrat like Hillary Clinton and a socialist like Bernie Sanders.
What's the difference between being a Democrat and being a Republican?
Well, what's the bigger difference? What's the big difference between a Democrat and a socialist? You're the chairman of the Democratic Party. Tell me the difference between you and a socialist.
The relevant debate that we'll be having over the course of this campaign is what's the difference between a Democrat and a Republican?
I think there's a huge difference.
And the difference between a Democrat and Republican is that Democrats fight to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to succeed, and the Republicans are strangled by their right-wing extremists.
Yeah.
Strangled. Are you feeling strangulation right now by you right-wing extremists?
Not particularly. I'd like to see, forget Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton, although maybe that's kind of a proxy for Chris Matthews and Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I'd like to see that conversation go on and on and on as he presses DWS to come up with an answer. But it's very interesting to see a couple of radical leftists like that, peppering one another over this idea that a distinction needs to be made. And the reason a distinction needs to be made is because you have an avowed socialist, the last honest man in the Democrat Party, leading the primary right now, at least in the early states.
Yeah, in Iowa and in New Hampshire. But the first debate is scheduled for October 13th. Will Vice President Joe Biden be there? And will they even have a debate if it's just Hillary and Bernie and then some other Webb and O'Malley?
Webb. Yeah.
The four of them?
Don't
forget
anybody
Willie
watch
Wilson. That? Oh,
Willie Wilson.
Yeah, your guy Willie Wilson. Is he still in it?
I don't know. He's running kind of a stealth campaign.
Oh,
apparently.
really? Kind of a stealth campaign?
Yes. Very much like George Pataki. Well, that's true. And who's
going to watch that?
Well, for Bernie and Hillary, I'd watch that. That would be really interesting because I think Bernie will go after her as a tool of the Beltway, as a tool of corporate interests. And it'll be interesting to see how she responds. I assume she'll do her best to keep her cool, but I think he will go after her to distinguish, true socialism from the kind of statist Fabian variety that Hillary practices.
Yesterday on Face the Nation, she flat out said she will not be attacking Bernie Sanders, that there's really no need to. But during a debate, you have to.
It's a different story.
It's a different story?
Yeah. You don't have, right, you can avoid it on the campaign trail, but when somebody comes after you directly and you're standing side by side, it's a completely different dynamic. It's difficult to not respond. So I would watch that. I mean, I'll have to pay attention. This is part of the downsides of the job is you have to pay attention to Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders discussing the issues. But it shall be interesting. And in terms of Biden over the weekend, a little bit of a development too. Sources, these shadowy sources reporting that Dr. Jill Biden, the smart Biden, if you're keeping score, she has given her stamp of approval for Uncle Joe to run. I'm 90% certain he's getting in the race. So that could provide some entertainment as well. Who is the bigger gaffe machine, Sanders, Biden, or Hillary? That is stiff competition.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You are a sign business, you want to grow, and you want to make more money. So do I. I want to partner with you. This is Dave Carlson, and my sign company is Franco Carlson and Company. We've been doing business in Chicago since 1894. With millions of dollars of state-of-the-art equipment, we can do any job. Trade shows, bus and vehicle wraps, banners for special events, even custom wallpaper. We can help you expand your sign business. If there is an order, any order, or a piece of business that you don't have the capabilities to do yourself, we can do it with you. You don't have to turn away any sign or print business any longer. Speed and quality to meet your deadlines. You have my word on that. Expand your sign business. Take any order. Make more money. Become a partner with Franco Carlson and Company. Contact me for a quote or stop by for a tour of our shop. Franco Carlson and Company. We are the sign company's partner.
Call Franco Carlson and Company at 773-847-6900. 773-847-6900.
Have you noticed cracked or sinking concrete around your home, driveways, sidewalks, garage floors, or patios? In addition to looking bad, cracked or sinking concrete causes an uneven surface that poses a safety hazard. Hi, I'm Roy Spencer, president of Permaseal. Would you like to fix the problem without replacing the concrete? We have the solution for you. Permaseal polylevel foam can be injected beneath concrete surfaces, leveling and preventing future settlement. Call Permaseal today at 800-421-SEAL for a free evaluation. The polylevel process is done with minimal disruption, quickly and at a fraction of the cost of concrete replacement. And unlike traditional mudjacking methods, polylevel foam is lightweight so it doesn't add additional weight to the area. Polylevel is the most durable and cosmetically appealing solution to your cracked or sinking concrete. Call Permaseal today at 800-421-SEAL. That's 800-421-SEAL or visit permaseal.net.
I'm Steve Sidkowski, a former Wall Street insider. I'm holding a book that will show you investing strategies which could help you earn the kind of money you've always dreamed about. And right now, I'm giving this book away for free. So who needs to read it? If you're in the middle of your career and worry you'll never have enough money to retire, you need to read this book. If you're already retired and your income isn't enough, you need to read this book. And if you don't want to be selling burgers at 80, you need to read this free book. It includes the strategy I use to make a 72% profit on a trade where the stock only moved 12%. You'll need at least $1 million to ever fully retire. If you're behind on that goal, you really need to read Trade Like the Pros. And you can for free by calling 1-800-550-9335. Skeptical that it will deliver results? It's a free book, so what do you have to lose? Find out how at 1-800-550-9335. 1-800-550-9335.
People who can afford a LASIK procedure sure are lucky. Imagine being able to throw away your contacts and glasses. Imagine waking up tomorrow with 20/20 vision. Too bad everyone can't afford LASIK. Well, guess what? There's a company that agrees with you. TLC Laser Eye Centers is now offering great prices on high-quality LASIK to make it affordable for everyone. That means you get the latest FDA-approved all-laser LASIK technology for less than what others charge. And if you call right now, we'll schedule a free consultation so you can discover if LASIK is right for you. Individual results may vary. Call 1-800-600-7926. Even better, if you're one of the first 100 callers, ask about an extra 10% off your all-laser LASIK procedure. We've already performed over 2 million procedures. Let us help you. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you deserve for less than what others charge. For your free consultation, call 1-800-600-7926. 1-800-600-7926.
Prospect Heights teachers remain on strike. Complete look at weather after Fox News. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. Donald Trump's still the Republican frontrunner, but Carly Fiorina is surging in the race for president.
She's got a good pitter-patter, but if you listen to her for more than 5 minutes straight, you get a headache.
Trump on ABC as Ben Carson also finds himself in controversy. Fox News Radio's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
A new CNN poll shows Carly Fiorina now ahead of Ben Carson in second place behind Donald Trump.
As people come to know me and they understand who I am and what I've done and most importantly what I will do, they tend to support me.
Carson, who's usually low-key, offended some people when he told NBC's Meet the Press.
I would not advocate that we put a Muslim
in charge of this nation.
Fellow presidential hopeful Marco Rubio told ABC the Muslim debate is a waste of time. The Carson campaign is in defense mode, saying there's a huge gulf between the Muslim faith and American values. Dave.
Rachel, another 162 homes burned down in California.
We all feel really sad about the damage of our home.
Evacuees are returning to salvage what's left around Middletown. That fire destroyed more than 1,000 houses. Another fire south of Sacramento torched more than 500. At least 5 people were killed. Another death in a car charred by a third fire is being investigated as a suicide. Pope Francis continues his trip to Cuba. The day after celebrating a huge mass in Havana, urging people to serve one another, not ideology. He also met with former communist leader Fidel Castro and current leader Raul. He comes to America for a 6-day stay tomorrow. Volkswagen stock is in reverse today in Germany, down 22% after the automaker apologized for software in diesel cars in the U.S. rigged to pass emission tests. Tracy Morgan back on stage, making an emotional appearance at the Emmy Awards. He recovers from last year's crash. As for the winners...
History was made several times at the 67th annual Primetime Emmy Awards, with Viola Davis becoming the first African-American to take home Outstanding Actress in a Drama. Game of Thrones wins a record-breaking 12 Emmys, and Veep took home 4 awards.
That's Michelle Polino, Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
54 degrees, 6:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott. Officials in DuPage County will speak later today after the arrest of a man on charges that he sexually assaulted and stabbed to death a 15-year-old girl 30 years ago. Sheriff John Zaruba says 62-year-old Michael Jones was arrested Sunday at his home in Champaign. He's accused in the slaying of Christina Wesselman in 1985. She was last seen walking a path in unincorporated Glen Ellen. A man is facing charges after a Lansing woman was abducted last week. The suspect, arrested yesterday in Holland, Michigan, currently held in the Ottawa County Jail. Authorities say the victim was kidnapped from her home around midnight Thursday before being driven in her own car to Munster, Indiana. That is where photos of the kidnapper were taken by an ATM surveillance camera. A number of officers could be heading to the streets of Chicago next year, trying to help combat violence continuing to spread throughout the city in the late summer. Mayor Emanuel's office says the department is planning to reassign 319 officers from administrative positions to street duty. Teachers in Prospect Heights, District 23, remain on strike, leaving around 1,500 students out of the classroom for a 4th day in a row. A Northwest Indiana man is dead after falling into Lake Michigan. Earl Helmuth was part of a group of 6 knocked into the water Saturday by a large wave while standing on Lighthouse Pier in Michigan City, Indiana. Divers recovered Helmuth's body the following morning. And the U.S. Bureau of Prisons says former Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr. has officially completed his prison sentence for spending $750,000 in campaign money on personal items. With Jackson's freedom, his wife must now report to prison soon to serve a 1-year sentence on a tax conviction related to that campaign money. Cleveland beat the White Sox 6-4. St. Louis over the Cubs 4-3, and Arizona knocked down the Bears at Soldier Field 48-23. The news, a service of UPSJobs.com. UPS is seeking part-time package handlers in Northbrook and Palatine, offering competitive pay and attractive benefits package with up to $25,000 in educational assistance. UPS actively promotes from within. Apply today at UPSJobs.com/radio. 6:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
You saw him moderate the CNN presidential debate.
Hugh Hewitt, a nice man.
Now you can see him live at Freedom Summit Chicago 2015. Hugh Hewitt is coming to Freedom Summit.
Hugh Hewitt.
Hugh Hewitt. Hugh Hewitt. Hugh Hewitt.
And he joins an already packed lineup that includes Ann Coulter and AM 560's Sean Hannity. Freedom Summit Chicago on November 14th in Itasca with Hugh Hewitt, Sean Hannity, and Ann Coulter. Get your tickets today at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com.
Call Quicken Loans now at 800-QUICKEN to see if you qualify for the government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. And for 5 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And for the 2nd year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or visit QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Number 3030.
How do you stay connected to your business when your work has you traveling from Miami on Monday to Tacoma on Tuesday? You call Regis at 1-800-OFFICES. Regis offers drop-in business lounges, meeting rooms, and office space in more than 3,000 locations worldwide, allowing you to work from anywhere at any time, all on your terms. Call Regis today at 1-800-OFFICES and get a free office or meeting room for a day. Regis, here to help you grow.
6:06 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. In Lansing, Stony Island is closed at Thornton Road. There's a truck stuck in the mud there. Hanover Park got a crash. County Farm at Army Trail. Kennedy outbound, stop and go from Montrose to O'Hare. 30 minutes downtown to the airport. It's also stop and go on westbound 190 from the Kennedy to Manheim. The inbound side of the Kennedy is good. The Edens is clear. Inbound Eisenhower, 32 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 29. Stevenson, 38 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. And outbound 37, crash reported before Harlem. Ryan is 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound slow from the Lake Forest Oasis to 60. Town line, there's a crash blocking 2 left lanes and the right. Traffic is a service of the Foundation for a Better Life. While many rose up with violence, he sat down for peace. Mahatma Gandhi reached out with the strength cultivated within his soul. Pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solutions provider. Here's meteorologist Jeremy Pearson.
Plenty of sunshine will make for a nice day today. High 71, clear tonight, low 50. Gorgeous tomorrow with mostly sunny skies as well, high 76. Wednesday will produce sunshine and will make for a nice day, high 77. I'm Jeremy Pearson, AM 560, The Answer.
54 at O'Hare, 58 along Chicago's lakefront. Next news at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, roasted fresh daily in Batavia, Illinois.
Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Should a president's faith matter? Should your faith matter to voters?
Well, I guess it depends on what that faith is.
The Constitution provides that there should be no religious test for public office, and I'm a constitutionalist.
We certainly do have a problem. I mean, you have a problem throughout the world.
What's the problem?
Well, you have radicals that are doing things. I mean, it wasn't people from Sweden that blew up the World Trade Center, Jake.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson. So, interesting, the big controversy over the weekend with Ben Carson's statements that he doesn't believe, would not support, but not advocate that a Muslim ever be considered for presidency of the United States. And it was interesting because then I watched the 60 Minutes interview with Iranian President Hassan Rouhani and was struck that it is not solely the province of U.S. politicians to string disingenuous cliches together and answer questions. It was fascinating, actually, to listen to Rouhani, how, I don't know, I guess here we would say slippery or oleaginous. Maybe a more positive spin would be that he's deft, that he's more political than the death to America, great Satan, death to Israel crowd in
so
Iran.
we've had him coined wrong this whole time.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think we've had him coined wrong. I just think he is much more of a political animal, and he understands his audience when he's sitting down with Steve Kroft. And it certainly was the case. Try and distinguish what Hassan Rouhani had to say from what President Obama has to say, both about this deal and about U.S. policy. Very interesting. I don't know who's tougher on America, Rouhani or Obama. It's a close call. Here is Rouhani talking about the deal in general and why why it makes sense for both sides.
If a country wanted, with the technical resources it has, to gain an atomic bomb, this deal would have been a very bad deal for it. Because the deal creates limitations from all sides to getting an atomic bomb. But if a country has been after peaceful technology from the beginning, then it has lost nothing. We wanted this incorrect accusation that Iran is after nuclear weapons corrected and resolved, and that the goal of Iran is peaceful activity. In this deal, we have accepted limitations for a period of time in order to create more trust with the world.
Yeah. They're just looking to be understood. They want to build that trust relationship, those bonds of acceptance with the United States and the Western world. That's what's actually happening here. Sounds very similar to President Obama. Do you believe Rouhani? Do you believe President Obama? That's just the tip of it. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636-DA, turnkey.pro text line. And then remember when President Obama compared the hardliners, totalitarian mullahs in Iran with Republicans in Congress?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the alliance there, the same disposition. Well, Steve Kroft apparently agrees with that outrageous comparison, and he put that question to Rouhani, who then gave another kind of Obama-esque answer. Listen to this exchange.
The United States seems to have its hardliners, and Iran seems to have its hardliners. The opponents say essentially that they think Iran has given up too much control over their nuclear program to the U.S. and other foreign countries and to the IAEA. Do you see similarities between the United States and Iran in terms of the opposition to this?
There are similarities. It's natural that opponents always look for the maximum possible outcome. In an agreement, neither achieves the maximum. Both sides must always concede a little bit from the maximum to get an agreement. Therefore, the person who seeks the maximum complains. The result of this agreement benefits everyone, benefits both sides because we've been able to reach an understanding, an agreement on a very complicated issue at the negotiating table and be able to prevent misunderstandings and take the first step towards trust. Of course, for reaching trust between the U.S. and Iran, there is need for a lot of time.
Thank you for that kind of 101 tutorial on the art of negotiation, Mr. Rouhani. Boy, I tell you what, their hardliners and our hardliners. Really, Steve Kroft? Our hardliners, like Chuck Schumer, like Bob Menendez, those the hardliners. Steve Israel, the former DCCC chairman, those are our hardliners, Steve Kroft. I mean, the idea of comparing Republicans and Democrats, the majority of Congress, who is opposed to this surrender deal, to the totalitarian theocrats in Iran is beyond insulting. And it's just kind of went off without comment. And I haven't heard much commentary on Steve Kroft's acceptance of the premise that President Obama put out and Rouhani codified yesterday. It's just the ultimate in silliness. Rouhani then went on, if you're not incredulous enough at that response, you know what's driving this for the Iranians? It's public opinion.
Oh, they just want to be loved?
They're very concerned about public
their
opinion.
reputation, yeah.
You know what drives their policymaking is public opinion. I mean, it's the Republic of Iran.
Mm-hmm.
So they're very concerned with properly representing the views of their constituents. Forget that Green Revolution business. You know, they are very responsive to the input of their populace. This is not a top-down regime as we perceive it to be.
The majority of our people in opinion polls have a positive view of the agreement, and usually institutions like the Parliament and the Supreme National Security Council are usually not far removed from public opinion and move in that direction.
Yeah. So it's a groundswell of support from the Iranian populace that is driving this deal. When you see the American flag burned in effigy, when you see great crowds chanting death to America, death to the great Satan, when you look at the sides of buildings in Tehran with anti-American screeds on them, you know, that were clearly commissioned. This is not like graffiti. That's not representative of public opinion. And Rouhani and the mullahs, of course, have their finger precisely on the pulse of public opinion because that's what they care about. They're not going to do anything without popular support. So on to those statements, those anti-American statements. Steve Kroft did raise that issue. He focused, interestingly, just on America, didn't mention anything about the death to Israel.
Why not?
We're going to annihilate Israel. It's a good question. I don't know.
Because that's the first. I mean, I would have out of the box. Why do you hate Israel? Why do you still keep chanting death to Israel?
Well, or
maybe that was part of the agreement that don't ask me. I'll sit down with you for an interview, but you cannot ask me about Israel. I mean, crazier things have happened.
More to the point, the question should have been pushed. Forget the chance. Are you still committed to the annihilation of Israel? But Rouhani had this in response to the anti-American statements from the Ayatollah and the Iranian hardliners, like our hardliners, like Chuck Schumer, in addition to that.
Do you believe the United States is the great Satan?
The enmity that existed between the United States and Iran over the decades, the distance, the disagreements, the lack of trust, will not go away soon. What's important is which direction we are heading. Are we heading towards amplifying the enmity or decreasing this enmity? I believe we have taken the first steps towards decreasing this enmity.
Do you think the United States is the great Satan?
Satan, in our religious parlance, is used to refer to that power that tricks others and whose words are not clear words, do not match reality. What I can say is that the U.S. has made many mistakes in the past regarding Iran and must make up for those mistakes.
So then yes.
Yeah. So what your friend here is trying to say is, yes, United States is the great Satan.
Yeah, and but I'll tell you what, it's nice that a couple of peacemakers like Rouhani and Obama could get together, because Rouhani is trying to de-escalate the enmity between Iran and the Western world, which is why they've enlisted Russia, Putin, another peacemaker, which is why they finance Hezbollah, which is why they help prop up Assad. I mean, this is all in the interest of peace. He wants to de-escalate enmity in the world. That's Rouhani's mission. I look forward to his Nobel Peace Prize presentation. The final question of interest that was asked, an important question, the American hostages.
Yes, those 4 that are still there.
Yeah, including
that weren't a part of the negotiations.
Including a Washington Post reporter who's a dual citizen of Iranian descent. Could we do some kind of prisoner exchange? Croft asked. Here's Rouhani.
We have Iranians who are imprisoned in the United States, Iranians who are being pursued, and most of them are being pursued for circumventing the sanctions. And you know that from the beginning we considered the sanctions to be wrong, and we encouraged everyone to circumvent them. We consider all of those prisoners to be innocent, and consider it wrong that they are in prison.
Would you support a prisoner exchange?
I don't particularly like the word exchange, but from a humanitarian perspective, if we can take a step, we must do it. The American side must take its own steps.
Yeah, real humanitarian, again, that Rouhani. So I would say that there's no real prospect for Americans to come home, the Americans being held by the Iranians to come home in the near term, unless Obama wants to do something like exchange a bunch of terrorists for Americans, and we know he is loath to do that.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, new breaking information about that Patrick Kane investigation. But first, here's your forecast. Plenty of sunshine today, a high of 71 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, another beautiful day, even warmer, a high of 76. Actually, we have a beautiful week. No rain in the forecast all week and highs in the mid to upper 70s. Let's get the travel times. How's that outbound Kennedy doing? Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. It's heavy. Slow going. Keeler to O'Hare. It's 40 minutes from downtown to the airport. It's 13 to get to Montrose. Then you have additional delays on westbound 190 from the Kennedy to Manheim. Inbound Kennedy, it's a 5-minute delay, Cumberland to Foster. Eden still good. Inbound Eisenhower, slow Manheim to First. 35 minutes, Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 31, Stevenson, 40 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 47, there's a crash past Central in the right lane. Ryan, 20 minutes 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound. There are delays from 176 to 60. Town line, there's a crash there in the right lane. Adams Tollway westbound, Slow Barrington to Higgins. 2 right lanes are closed. Overnight road work is late in clearing. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
There's that word again, heavy. Why are things so heavy in the future? Is there a problem with the Earth's gravitational pull?
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
Well, I had back pain for the last 40 years. 4 days after I started taking this stuff, it's gone.
This summer was the first summer that I have not had to have a steroid shot to help me to breathe.
It's fantastic. My husband is loving the product. I'm so happy that I ordered it.
Yeah, I haven't got sick in a year, first time in my life.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
What if you could look back over 150 years to find the actual addresses of your ancestors? Only at tryancestry.com now through Sunday, you can have access to over 1 billion records in their city directory collection. Trace family members' births, deaths, addresses from historical maps, church affiliations, and more. These city directories haven't been open to the public for free access before, so don't miss this opportunity. Free access ends Sunday and is only at tryancestry.com. That's TRY Ancestry.com.
Do you want to learn how to earn commissions of up to 20% by laundering millions of foreign dollars?
Well, we can't help you with that. But among the many IT problems we solve, Barracuda's email security solutions keep email phishing attacks like this from entering your business network and any valuable data from leaking out. Reclaim your network like 150,000 other businesses have. To learn more about stopping email-borne threats, visit barracuda.com/email.
Do shopping online and using public Wi-Fi make you vulnerable to identity theft? Does giving out your social security number put you at risk? Is your dog at risk of identity theft? Yes, yes, and no. Your dog has absolutely nothing to worry about. But we do live in a world that can expose a lot of personal information, and that can lead to having your identity stolen and losing everything you've worked for. That's why at LifeLock we use proprietary technology to detect a wide variety of threats. And unlike free credit monitoring services, we have a dedicated US-based staff to help restore your identity if it ever is compromised. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. But if you ask yourself whether you're worth protecting with the best, isn't the answer a resounding yes? Plans start at $9.99 a month, and now you can get 10% off. Go to lifelock.com and use promo code NEWS.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, before you get too excited about the headline, there's more to it. The headline reading, DNA evidence does not confirm a woman's allegation that Patrick Kane raped her. 4 sources from the Buffalo News said that over the weekend that they had DNA test results taken from that rape kit, and it can shown that there were no traces of Kane's DNA found in the woman's genital area or on her undergarments. Little graphic there, and I don't know how in the world they got access to this information, but the former county DA, Frank Clark, said this could be a game changer in Kane's favor, who all along has said that he's pretty much innocent.
To hear that reaction from the crowd, I am confident that once all of the facts are brought to light, I will be absolved of having done nothing wrong.
Mm-hmm. But we should point out that just because there is no DNA found in the genital area doesn't mean that, thank you, that doesn't mean that he didn't wear a condom when he forced himself on her. And furthermore, Kane's DNA was found underneath the woman's fingernails and on her shoulders. Remember, Dan, he took allegedly there was a bite mark on her left shoulder. And when she went into the hospital for, to take this, for doctors to perform this rape kit on her, they did swab the DNA on her shoulder to make sure that it was his saliva was in there. And apparently it was his saliva on that bite mark. And DNA, his DNA, which underneath her fingernails, which may suggest there was some form of a struggle.
Yeah, the flip side of your case is looking really good. The flip side of that with the woman's DNA under, or his DNA under her fingernails on her shoulders, is that also is not dispositive of any type of assault. So good luck with that case. It's looking good.
Well, did you know that Patrick Kane has a girlfriend, had a girlfriend all along? Here he is talking to Peggy Kaczynski about how he's been received by the fans.
They've been very supportive, obviously. My parents have been there since day one, since I moved away when I was 13 years old to Detroit, and I wanted to come back after the first day. Up until now, they've been very supportive, so it's good to have that support from my mom, my dad, my sisters, my girlfriend, everyone.
Girlfriend. Where was the girlfriend the night that this took place?
I know. I know you're really, really intent on kind of willing a indictment and a guilty verdict. I think you're in trouble. So you're going to have to pray harder.
No, but one woman, her name is Florina Ashler. She's a Buffalo, New York attorney. She said that she has worked as a sex crimes prosecutor in Alaska and other places, and she said there are cases where the perpetrators wore a condom. I mean, if you made $88 million a year, you're going to... So that is still possible.
Yes, right. I know. Patrick Kane is somebody who, when you think responsible behavior, his name shoots to your mind. So I'm sure he took all necessary precautions so that he could get away with this crime that is alleged by one individual. And it doesn't seem like there's a lot of supporting evidence based on what we know at this point. We'll see when that grand jury is rescheduled. We don't know when that is going to occur either. I don't know. This case seems to be holding on by a string.
Really? I mean, you don't see any point or anything supporting my argument if there's his DNA underneath her fingernails?
I don't. The prosecuting attorney in Buffalo thought there was enough to go to a grand jury. I don't know what he knows. So if he thinks that it's enough to go to a grand jury, go to a grand jury and let the grand jury decide if there's enough there for an indictment and move the case along if that's the case. If it's not, then... we move on.
Well,
and there's no nothing.
There's no there. Well, his teammates are supporting him.
Same old. He makes it look easy. I think a lot of guys are struggling, like I said, to shake that rust off and get things going, and he just goes out there and plays the game, and things are going smooth for him.
Yeah, and Peggy Kaczynski from NBC5 asked him, if things changed, have you talked to him about this? And they said, no, we just went out. After, season or training camp started, they went out that night in a South Bend bar and just talked about sports and watched some football. And they're not going to ask him about any of this.
That's a stunning development.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
We gave Tom 12 seconds to give 6 reasons why he opened a Mathnasium Learning Center franchise.
Okay. Great income potential. Doing good for kids. Doing what I love. Making math make sense to kids. 500 centers open already. 1 every 3 days. Mathnasium taught me the business. Helps me. Supports me.
Time's up. Pretty good. For franchise information, visit mathnasium.com or take the first step right now. Call 855-361-MATH. That's 855-361-6284.
I was fed up with the overwhelming liberal bias in public schools, so I decided to homeschool my kids. The problem was finding a curriculum that represented the values I grew up with. Things like faith, family, patriotism, and the truth about our country's history. Then I checked out BJU Press. BJU Press has everything our homeschool needs, and with the right values. Go to bjupresshomeschool.com and see for yourself. You'll feel good about how you homeschool.
ChicagoRadioDeals.com has pulled the trigger to bring you classes for Illinois gun owners. Take advantage of a new Illinois concealed carry class from Safer USA. Dave Lombardo is the class instructor. He's offering his concealed carry 16-hour seminar for only $150. This seminar normally retails at $300. It covers everything you need to know to protect you and your family with a concealed carry firearm for personal protection or against a home invasion. Dave is a pro and also the host of the show on Target Radio. Hey, get in a little range time as well with a 1-year range membership from the Outdoorsman Sports Shop in Winthrop Harbor. This is a premier gun range in Northeast Illinois. and a one-year membership is only $149. That's a $350 value. Your Range membership includes great discounts on products and services at the Outdoorsman Sports Shop. Find out all the details only at ChicagoRadioDeals.com, where they also feature great deals on many other lifestyle training classes. Get it all at ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up next on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We have George Mason law professor Helena Valre to review Pope Francis's forthcoming visit to the U.S.
And you're going to want to stick around here because the very own Diamond and Silk will be here at 7:37. Oh, yeah, you remember them. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
54 degrees as the sun begins to peak over Lake Michigan. This morning, 6:31 is our time. Pope Francis flying to Washington this week for his first trip to the United States. Officials tell the Associated Press that Washington is considering taking the unprecedented step of not putting up a fight this year when the UN General Assembly votes on condemning the U.S. embargo in Cuba. Former Peanut executive due in federal court in Georgia today to be sentenced in a tainted food scandal. 61-year-old Stuart Parnell could be sent to prison for life. One of Ben Carson's Republican presidential opponents believes the retired neurosurgeon needs to apologize to American Muslims for controversial comments he made.
This is an example to me that Mr. Carson may be a good doctor, but he is not ready to lead a great nation.
South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham says Carson's claim that a Muslim should not be elected to the White House was wrong. Meantime, Carly Fiorina closing the gap on fellow Republican Donald Trump. Former Hewlett-Packard CEO soared into second place in a new CNN ORC poll with 15%. Donald Trump skewered last night at the Primetime Emmys.
Donald Trump, of course, is running for president to the delight of uncles everywhere. But I've got to say, sure, Donald Trump seems racist. What else?
Andy Samberg last night at the Primetime Emmys, now in the books. Game of Thrones going down as your big winner last night. This morning, Volkswagen share prices tanking following the German automaker's admission that it rigged U.S. emission tests for about 500,000 diesel cars. Officials in DuPage County say they've arrested a man on charges he sexually assaulted and stabbed to death a 15-year-old girl 30 years ago. There will be a press conference with more from DuPage County later today. And teachers in Prospect Heights, District 23, remain on strike, leaving around 1,500 students out of class for the fourth day in a row. Chicago sports, Cleveland over the White Sox 6-3. St. Louis topped the Cubs 5-4. NFL at Soldier Field, Cardinals over the Bears 48-23. The news service of the City of Chicago's Blue Cart Recycling Program. Remember to break down your cardboard boxes and put them in the blue recycling cart. Visit chicagorecycles.org to learn more. And remember, recycling, it's not trash. 6:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
AM 560 has a new mobile app, and it can do a lot of cool things. The best thing it can do? It can send you on a vacation to paradise. Download or upgrade to the new AM 560 mobile app between now and October 9th, and you'll be able to enter to win an all-expenses-paid trip to Cancun for a week-long stay at the all-inclusive Secrets, the Vine Resort, courtesy of Apple Vacations. Just go to 560theanswer.com/mobile to get the app today and download Paradise. Presented by Permaseal.
At Galaxy, they'll help make the house you have into the home you love. Right now, get kitchen or bath cabinets, 2 for the price of 1. Contact Galaxy 773-783-8300 or GalaxyHome.com.
We're fed up with the so-called conservatives in Congress, tired of their support for the entire liberal ruling class agenda in Washington, D.C. Well, so is the Heartland Institute, a leader in promoting free market solutions. I encourage you to join the Heartland Institute and like-minded friends Sons of Liberty on Thursday, October 8th for their 31st anniversary dinner as they welcome Angelo Codevilla, author of The Ruling Class, How They Corrupted America and What We Can Do About It. Explore how this group of political elites educated at left-wing universities are convinced of their own brilliance and whose success largely depends on access to politicians and government flunkies. Help counter the ruling class that's demeaning, impoverishing, and demoralizing us. Also speaking is former Reagan White House Personnel Director Donald J. Devine. Help further the fight for freedom. Visit heartland.org to purchase your tickets for this important 31st anniversary dinner at the Cotillion in Palatine. That's heartland.org. Do it now.
6:35. Let's get an update on your ride to work this morning. Tough in spots in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here's Jim.
That's right, Mike. It's not good on the southbound tri-state right now. Slow going from 176 to 60 with a crash now moved to the right shoulder. Northbound 294 slow from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway, it's slow going from Beverly to 59 and Elmhurst to Lee. Westbound stop and go Roselle to Higgins with roadwork in the right lane. Eden's a little heavy approaching the junction inbound. Outbound, it's a 3-minute delay Montrose to Toohey. The Kennedy, 26 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 50 with additional delays and westbound 190. Eisenhower, 45 minutes. Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 39. Stevenson, 42 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound, it's an hour with a crash past Central. Just moved to the right shoulder. Ryan, 22 minutes. 95th to downtown. I-57, 25 minutes. I-80 to the merge. Traffic is service of the Milwaukee Airport with all the major U.S. airlines. Great fares, lots of nonstops, parking as low as $7 a day. The Milwaukee Airport makes travelers happy even before they check in. Visit flymke.com. Learn why Milwaukee's airport is the O'Hare alternative. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Pleasant with plenty of sunshine today. High 71, clear and 50 overnight. 54 at O'Hare, 59 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 7. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And Pope en route to the United States after, spending what must have been a difficult weekend with the Castro brothers in Cuba.
Yeah, trying to convert them, right?
Yeah.
Atheists no more.
More like providing hope to the oppressed in Cuba. He is scheduled to meet with President Obama on the South Lawn of the White House on Wednesday. And boy, that's going to be an interesting group meeting because President Obama has chosen to convene as the welcoming committee for Pope Francis Gene Robinson, the first gay Episcopal bishop in the U.S., Mateo Williamson, the transgender head of the LGBT Catholic group Dignity USA, and Sister Simone Campbell, a nun who lobbied for Obamacare's passage, despite the fact that it funds abortions and compels Catholic institutions to provide contraception. Boy, what an example. It's interesting because it'll be a nice contrast, an example of someone who uses their personal power in a disgraceful way and someone who is touched by God's grace. It's going to be an interesting contrast for the public to view. For more on that, we're now joined by our friend, Professor Helen Alvarez. She is a law professor at George Mason University, and she is going to be with Pope Francis in Philadelphia, a keynote speaker there. I believe the only female keynote speaker, female speaker at that stop. Professor Alvarez, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
So let's start with the invite list the president put together for Pope Francis's visit. How do you react to that?
I reacted to it, I guess, at a personal level. The Pope is such a warm, personal, kind, gentle individual in person. It's just, think about if you would invite a guest to your home and make very clear that you were inviting people who really hated a lot of what he stood for. I just think it's rudeness. I don't even want to get into the politics of it. It's not even about any particular issue on which they disagree with him. It's really a question of kindness and rudeness, and it doesn't seem like Obama is responding to the Pope's person in that regard with kindness.
Yeah, but so Obama is shoving his political agenda down, the Pope's throat. But as you just mentioned, he is such a kind, loving man. How is he going to respond? Do you expect a strange reaction from him, or of course he's going to show compassion?
I think, first of all, apparently the group is large enough that he may not have a personal encounter with any of the people who are there really as signs of opposition. But were he to encounter them, you may remember his encounter with the president, I think it was of Peru, who gave him a cross with the communist symbol on it. And he said he didn't do anything loud or obnoxious in that exchange. He simply said it was a strange thing to do, but he took it, and then he went on with his business.
What do this is kind of the operative question, and there was a profile piece on 60 Minutes last night that Steve Kroft did where he had a brief encounter with Pope Francis, and Pope Francis was purposely general because he's a sharp individual in terms of what he's going to say when he comes to America. What do you expect him to say? What do you hope he says in terms of topics to address?
Right. I guess my dream, and it wouldn't be an unrealistic one, is that you hear what I call the unified field theory of Francis, which reconciles all what people think are his wildly diverse positions. On the one hand, he has these teachings about who God is and who the church is and what we stand for and what we hope so that people will come to know Christ, which includes deference to his authority, deference to the creation that he made, whether we're talking about natural creation or whether we're talking about the human person, the social environment, and that includes gender and marriage and all those issues that are controversial in the States. He wants people to come to them so badly because they're so deeply important that he says, now I'm going to go out to you, and I'm going to go as far as I can with you. I'm coming with mercy. I'm coming with one of his favorite words, tenderness, to show you as much as I can. Why? Not because what we teach is unimportant, but because it's important to you. It's important to your happiness, your real freedom, your true equality with your fellow men and women. So it's that unified field theory. It's that the teaching is important, but it's that important that mercy and tenderness is required to bring you with me and to show you.
We're talking to Professor Helen Alvarez, a law professor at George Mason University. She'll be with Pope Francis during his Philadelphia stop. One of the things that I know the left is very excited for Pope Francis to address is essentially what he addressed in his controversial encyclical on the environment. Mm-hmm. And what's left out of the conversation about about climate change and the environment, although it is nice to see the left embracing the idea that faith and science are not mutually exclusive, so that's progress. But what's left out in that encyclical is a discussion about the human being as well, and that, look, if you're going to treat life as disposable, then we don't have anything to talk about when it comes to climate change. And I'm going to be disappointed, and you tell me if I should or shouldn't be, if the Pope does not address what are these, as Anthony Esolen calls them, these baby salvage yards that Planned Parenthood is running. Do you expect hope for him to address Planned Parenthood, and should we be disappointed if he doesn't?
Just a couple of things. One, Benedict addressed the environment a lot. Left just never mentioned it. Number two, having read Laudato Si, Francis's environmental encyclical now, I guess 3 times through, he talks a lot about human life. And the reason we preserve the environment is because human life is at the summit. God intended it to sustain human life. He spoke directly about abortion. He spoke directly about gender theory there. He put it all in this gorgeous platform of the authority of creation, or if you don't believe in God, just the authority of nature. But he included male, female, marriage, family, respect for life, right there, along with respect for the planet, only he put the former at the summit. So it'd be interesting. In Cuba, apparently he did address some of the very current, questions, and I would hope that in the United States, and because Planned Parenthood, frankly, is an international phenomenon, which the Holy See, at the permanent observer at the UN, also talks about, I think it would be wonderful if he simply spoke, even an allusion, which will be picked up very specifically, to the government supporting people who do what Planned Parenthood does to body parts, that it demeans the federal government. And I wouldn't be surprised if he made one reference to it. It's such a huge, grotesque feature of our cultural landscape right now, even politics aside.
Well, is President Obama inviting anyone from Planned Parenthood to be at the White House when Pope Francis arrives?
To the best of my knowledge, no, I haven't seen any Planned Parenthood figures. On the other hand, we know that, a lot of members of Congress are inviting people who are directly contrary to Pope Francis. They're giving their seats, or their one additional seat that they have to people who would oppose him on things. And that members of Congress, many of whom have won Planned Parenthood Lifetime Achievement Award types of stuff. So, it's a big country. It's going to be a mixed crowd. The president specifically inviting people who really loathe Pope Francis's and the Church's views on things. Congress is specifically doing that. It does seem a slap in the face, but it's bound to happen in the question of members of Congress being there.
Speaking effectively of Catholic teaching, as an academic yourself, any hope, insight into what Pope Francis might have to say about the state of Catholic education in America? It's so mission critical, and in many urban centers, including Chicago, Catholic schools are struggling to stay afloat and continue to provide the quality education they've provided for so long.
Right. A couple of things. Number one, he is speaking at Catholic University, and I've never seen a pope come through Catholic University who hasn't addressed the state of Catholic education. So it would be surprising with me if he did not. Number two, I think what would be some of his favorite themes? I think he wanted to preserve its non-ideological quality, that it shouldn't be constantly putting its arms around issues that are left or right, but going straight out with Catholic teaching, the way I described, I think, Laudato Si doing. I think he will probably, if he addressed it, I would be surprised if he didn't address the fact that it reaches out to the poor. And if he does that, he should start by praising the American bishops, because especially the city, Chicago is definitely one. My hometown is Philly, and I see here in D.C., I think in D.C., up to 80% of the kids in Catholic schools are not Catholic. In many of the parishes, there are a lot of families who send their kids there because it's safe and they feel like the church loves them, but they're not Catholic. I think he should praise the church's outreach there, and undoubtedly he'll always exhort them also to do more.
Maybe he should invite some of the children who were on scholarship in D.C. and President Obama tried to take their scholarships away. Maybe that, in terms of the idea of Catholic education and a diverse audience as well, in terms of talking to people that are less fortunate and need a little assistance to have the same choice that the wealthy do, since that's a theme that Pope Francis likes to touch upon.
That definitely, we know that vouchers have been this incredible lifeline for kids who would otherwise be in really dangerous schools. Very interesting when Obama, went along with pulling that back in D.C. I mean, there's a case where you could see that this isn't about ideology. This was about the poor. And in fact, in D.C., it's vast majority of people on vouchers are African American and Hispanic. And I doubt the word voucher would cross the Pope's lips, but I would not be at all surprised if he was strong on the need to keep access to the poor and the government being non-intrusive on that.
All right. She is law professor Helen Alvare from George Mason University. Good luck in Philadelphia on tomorrow?
Yes,
tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
All righty, bye-bye.
And she joined us on our Turnkey.Pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Oh, plenty of sunshine to greet you on your back to work Monday. We're going to have a high of 71 degrees, and the week looks terrific. No rain predicted at all throughout the entire week, and temperatures are going to rise throughout the week. By the end of it, we'll have highs in the upper 70s. Today, a high, though, of 71. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim.
Travel times are rising too, Amy and Dan. Good morning. The Kennedy inbound is 40 minutes, so O'Hare to downtown. It's slow Cumberland most of the way in. Outbound, it's an hour from downtown to the airport with additional delays on westbound 190. The Eden's 25 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose. Up on 22, the Eisenhower. 45 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Up on 39, the Stevenson inbound. 45 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound, it's a mess from Damon to past Central. The crash on the right shoulder. It's an hour and 15 minutes, Lakeshore Drive to 355. Ryan is 30 minutes, 95 to downtown. Tri-State Tollway southbound, slow 120 to 60 with a crash on the left shoulder. Northbound, slow Southwest Highway to 75th from the Stevenson to Ogden and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
Now it's time for the Lou Dobbs Financial Report, brought to you by the Mutual Fund Store.
I'm Lou Dobbs, Corporate Development's Economic Reports. The Fed's no vote on raising interest rates, all influencing the market's direction today. Those stories next.
I believe in the American entrepreneur. The small business owner is truly the backbone of the American economy. Hi, I'm Steve Cooper, co-founder of ERSOP.com, the Entrepreneur Rollover Stock Ownership Plan. My partner Karen Franklin and I started ERSOP.com over 15 years ago because we're on a mission to help as many people as possible open and run their own businesses, simply, quickly, and easily by using their own retirement funds. Then 3, 4, 5 years later, put the money back and have the corporation carry on by itself. Then you'll have the business and the security of the retirement funds too. We recently worked with a gentleman who accomplished this in only 9 months. ERSOP.com can set it up for you in about 2 weeks. It's pre-approved by the IRS and it's totally legal. We've helped thousands of people achieve the dream of being their own boss. Give us a call and let's talk about how we can help you too. Call 866-MY-ERSOP. That's 866-MYERSOP. Invest in yourself. Call 866-MY-ERSOP. 866-MY-ERSOP.
Global investors reacting to the Federal Reserve's decision not to raise interest rates and what it means. Some on Wall Street credit Federal Open Market Committee members for recognizing that our economy isn't yet strong enough to endure an interest rate hike, even a small one. Others interpret the Fed's 9-1 vote against raising interest rates as a punt. That debate and reaction to economic reports influencing action in both the stock and bond markets, investors reacting as well to the index of leading economic indicators and minutes from the Bank of Japan's last meeting on monetary policy. Baker Hughes' latest report on oil rigs now operating in the United States likely to have an impact on crude prices. October crude begins the trading session near $47 a barrel. And please join us for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
You know what I love about summer? Baseball. You know what I love about baseball? It's a game of probability. You know what I love about my team? Not much, because baseball is a game of probability. The odds of our starting pitcher lasting 3 innings? Slim. The likelihood we'll be mathematically eliminated before July? High. Okay, so maybe I'm not a fan of the probability of my team going above 500. But I am a fan of the fact that with some planning and a little help, I was able to influence the probability that I could retire and stay retired. Maybe our pitcher should consider retirement. Just saying.
Ready to make the game-changing decision to put a plan in place for your retirement? The Mutual Fund Store can help you do just that. Connect with us today for a free review of your investment portfolio or a second opinion on your investments. The person you'll be having a cup of coffee with is right here.
Hi, I'm Steve Check with the Mutual Fund Store in Chicagoland. Call me at 888-498-3636 or visit mutualfundstore.com and let's talk about your financial goals today.
Hey, pay attention. If your carpet is dirty, starting to show some serious foot traffic, you should call Executive Green Carpet Cleaning. I did, and they came and cleaned all my carpet and area rugs, and they look fabulous. They look brand new. Executive Green Carpet Cleaning has a different process from that yellow big box company that I used to use in the past. When they came into my house, they used their own purified water, not water from my faucet. They pre-treated my carpets and used an environmentally green solution. It was salt-based, not detergent-based, which means it left no residue. It's so much safer for the boys and, of course, for my beloved cats. Executive Green also cleaned 3 rooms for only $139 and didn't try to upsell me. If you want your carpet to look like new again, like mine, and your area of rugs to look brand new, then you should call Executive Green Carpet Cleaning right now at 708-599-5151. That's 708-599-5151. Or schedule online at executivegreencarpetcleaning.com. Locally owned and operated. It's a family business. They're reliable, and they really are better than that big box company that I used for many, many years. Never again. From now on, when I want my carpets clean, I will call Executive Green Carpet Cleaning at 708-599-5151 or online at executivegreencarpetcleaning.com.
AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy, another urban myth perpetrated by and perpetuated by individuals like Michelle Obama, debunked. And it also turns out I have the diet of your average pre-adolescent. This is a question about fast food, and it turns out that the idea that the poor eat more fast food, have worse diets, poor children, than
You're listening?
Children from wealthier families turns out not to be true.
Really?
Children born to families living just above the poverty line get roughly 11.5% of their calories from fast food, whereas everyone else, the portion is closer to 13%. And about a quarter of all kids in the U.S. get 25% of their calories from fast food, which puts me squarely in that camp.
You still getting the Happy Meal? Or do you say, I'll take the Happy Meal, but without the toy now?
I've upgraded, but if I get the Happy Meal, I take the toy. That comes with the Happy Meal. I want the full complement. So how often do your kids eat fast food?
Oh, about once or twice a week. But when I was on unemployment, I loved the dollar value meal at McDonald's. So I did go there a lot more. But it doesn't matter if you have money, if you don't have money. Everybody eats fast food because it's good and it's naughty. And yeah, it's empty calories.
It's not naughty.
It is. You're not. I mean, it is. It's just,
It's. I don't know if it's empty calories to some of those waistlines walking around McDonald's.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
On AM 560, The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to drill down and talk about the big ideas behind the big issues. That's where Upstream Ideas comes in. Upstream Ideas, online at upstream-ideas.com, in partnership with the Illinois Opportunity Project, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted orthodoxies. In other words, Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now to upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to spur you on to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit more free, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
For a long time, Turnkey IT has been providing solutions to AM 560 business owners. It's a name that you have come to know and trust. These guys do it all, from on-site service calls and help desk to all-in networks. They have a plan that fits your company's technology needs. Want to move your business to the cloud? Turnkey can migrate your network to Microsoft's Office 365. It's having someone to call when you misplace a file or accidentally open that email with a virus important. Well, then Turnkey's got you covered. Time for all new equipment? With Turnkey's all-in plan, your business will have brand new equipment and the highest level of support you can find. Do you want professional and timely support from your IT company? Of course you do. And Turnkey is prompt and responsive to support requests, shows up on time, and provides service even after normal business hours. Turnkey IT knows your network is truly the heartbeat of your company. So focus on your business and leave the technical stuff to the pros. Visit turnkey.pro today for a plan that fits your needs. That's turnkey.pro.
Meet Lawrence, Rachel, and Pam. They're making serious money on their schedule driving with Uber.
I was looking for something that was convenient and something that would help me to reach my financial goals.
The first time I turned the app on was because I was going to visit my sister and thought I should probably make some extra cash so that when I'm on my trip, I'll have spending money. And then I had $400.
With Uber, you can write your own paycheck. It's just that simple. If you want to go out and make $20 a day, you can. If you want to go out and make $500 a day, it's up to you.
I love the convenience of it. I log on when I'm available and log off when I'm not, and it's very, very easy to do.
You sign up, and you start earning money right away, like the next day.
Just get in your car and you drive. But I like driving my car.
Turn it off when you want to make money, you turn it off when you don't.
This is the best decision I made. It's a no-brainer, really.
What are you waiting for?
Thanks, folks. To start making great money with your car, sign up to drive today at drivewithuber.com. That's drivewithuber.com.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Should Ben Carson withdraw from the presidential race at 7:07?
And then Diamond and Silk, you know them. They're big Trump supporters. They'll be joining us at 7:37. You won't want to miss it. But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say hello again to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, Prospect Heights teachers' strike continues. That's a story we'll follow this week, along with a suspect in a 1985 slaying of a Chicago area teen arrested. We expect more details on this from DuPage County later today. CPS school chief says the district may issue layoff notices by Thanksgiving without more state help. Jay Cutler leaves the Bears game with an injury. Cardinals hold off the Cubs, and the Indians top the White Sox. A pleasant day ahead with plenty of sunshine. Complete look at weather after Fox News, WIND, Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. Donald Trump was under fire for not correcting an audience member at an event last week who said President Obama was a Muslim.
I have no obligation, moral or otherwise, to defend the president.
Now Ben Carson's found his own Muslim controversy. Fox News Radio's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dr. Carson appears to be standing by his remarks on NBC's Meet the Press when he said he would not advocate electing a Muslim to the White House. He was also asked whether a president's faith should matter.
If it's inconsistent with the values and principles of America, then of course it should matter.
The Carson campaign doubled down on his comments, saying there's a huge gulf between the Muslim faith and American values. Carson is third in a new CNN poll, which has Carly Fiorina now in second place behind Trump. Dave.
And Rachel, Trump gets 24% in that Republican race for president in that latest poll. The head of the UN's nuclear agency's gone to a suspect military site in Iran as the Iranians hand over samples they, not the UN, collected from that Parchin facility suspected to be home to weapons work. The UN says Iran has met standards as Tehran seeks sanctions relief in the nuclear deal Congress was unable to block. Firefighters have more control of two devastating California wildfires.
We don't anticipate any fire jumping the fire line.
Cal Fire's Hugo Bettino. The flames in the Middletown area burned down more than 1,000 homes. The fire south of Sacramento torched over 500. 5 people were killed. A body found in a car charred by yet another fire that started over the weekends being investigated as a suicide. A security breach has Apple cleaning up its App Store after hackers tricked software developers to put malicious code into hundreds of iPhone and iPad apps since removed. Game of Thrones wins big at the Emmys. Top drama, Veep was best comedy, and Viola Davis made history. The first black actress to win for a lead role in a drama, How to Get Away with Murder. Davis thanked
people who have redefined what it means to be beautiful, to be sexy, to be a leading woman, to be black.
Tracy Morgan got a big ovation, making an emotional appearance, recovering from last year's highway crash. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Sunrise in Chicago, 7:02 on this Monday morning on AM 560, The Answer. I'm Mike Scott. Officials in DuPage County say they've arrested a man on charges that he sexually assaulted and stabbed to death a 15-year-old girl. It happened 30 years ago. The sheriff, John Zaruba, says 62-year-old Michael Jones was arrested Sunday at his Champaign home. He's accused in the slaying of Christina Wesselman. On July 21st, 1985, she was last seen walking along a path in unincorporated Glen Ellen. The girl's body was found in a field later that day. Zaruba says the department's cold case unit received new information in the case this month and searched Jones's home on Friday before the arrest. Teachers in Prospect Heights District 23 remain on strike, leaving around 1,500 students out of the classroom for a 4th day in a row. Faculty at Rock Valley College remain on the picket line as a strike in this state enters its 4th day. Talks are expected to resume later today. The U.S. Bureau of Prisons says former Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr. has officially completed his prison sentence for spending $750,000 in campaign money on personal items. Bureau spokesman now says with Jackson's freedom, his wife must report to prison soon to serve her 1-year sentence on a tax conviction related to that campaign money. No one hurt after fire broke out at the University of Chicago. Officials say the blaze began yesterday inside Harold Leonard Stewart Hall. And President Barack Obama's foundation says 140 architecture firms have applied to design his presidential library and museum. The foundation chairman, Martin Nesbitt, said firms that submitted qualifications by the Wednesday deadline were from 25 countries and 60 cities. 99 alone were based in the U.S. Many are Chicago firms. Cleveland over the White Sox 6-3, St. Louis over the Cubs 4-3, and in the NFL, Bears stumble at home, losing to Arizona 48-23. The news, a service of the City of Chicago's Blue Cart Recycling Program. Just because it's plastic doesn't mean it's recyclable, so don't toss loose plastic bags and plastic film in the Blue Cart. Visit chicagorecycles.org to learn more, and remember, recycling, it's not trash. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
AM 560 has a new mobile app, and it can do a lot of cool things. The best thing it can do? It can send you on a vacation to paradise. Download or upgrade to the new AM 560 mobile app between now and October 9th, and you'll be able to enter to win an all-expenses-paid trip to Cancun for a week-long stay at the all-inclusive Secrets, the Vine Resort, courtesy of Apple Vacations. Just go to 560theanswer.com/mobile to get the app today and download Paradise. Presented by Permaseal.
Call Quicken Loans now at 800-QUICKEN to see if you qualify for the government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. And for 5 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And for the second year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or visit QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Number 3030.
Where do more than 2 million people go each day to do their best work? They go to Regis. Regis has beautifully designed tech-powered offices and co-working spaces with full admin support. Let Regis manage the details for you so you can focus on your business. Call Regis at 1-800-OFFICES to get up and running fast, without the hassle. Join the 2 million people who have found a better way to work. And right now, get a free office or meeting room for a day when you call 1-800-OFFICES. Regis, here to help you grow.
7:06. Sunshine in Chicago. Beautiful fall day ahead. Not so nice on the roads in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Telemonti.
Thanks, Mike. Inbound Eden's delays start around Old Orchard. It's 35 minutes. Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 25. The Kennedy, 40 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound a full hour. The Eisenhower, an hour and 4 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, 51 minutes from Manheim, outbound 50 to Thorndale. Stevenson is 50 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, and outbound an hour and 15 minutes. Just a mess from the Rye to past Central with a crash on the right shoulder. The Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound, stop and go 21 to 176 after a crash. Northbound slows Southwest Highway most of the way to 47th, and from the Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue. Spot Adams Tollway slow Beverly to 59, and Elmhurst to Lee. Reagan Tollway slow. The Fox River to 59, Myers to Midwest, and York to the Tri-State. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solutions provider. Here is our meteorologist, Jeremy Pearson.
Pleasant with plenty of sunshine today, high 71, clear tonight, low 50. Mostly sunny and beautiful tomorrow, high 76. Sunshine will make for a nice day on Wednesday, high 77. I'm Jeremy Pearson on AM 560, The Answer.
54 at O'Hare, 59 along the lakefront, and 57 at Midway. Your next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Live with Andrew Holmes. Get honest answers to your questions every Sunday at 12 noon.
Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Should a president's faith matter? Should your faith matter to voters?
Well, I guess it depends on what that faith is.
The Constitution provides that there shall be no religious test for public office, and I'm a constitutionalist.
We certainly do have a problem. I mean, you have a problem throughout the world.
What's the problem?
Well, you have radicals that are doing things. I mean, it wasn't people from Sweden that blew up the World Trade Center, Jake.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning. What up, Dan, Amy? So the question now that every Republican presidential candidate is going to get because of what Ben Carson said over the weekend is, can and should a Muslim American be president of the United States? This is a theoretical question since there's no Muslim Americans running for president now, but it's a sort of a cultural touchstone. Ben Carson was on Meet the Press, and he had this to say. I mean, and by the way, the predicate question, which is lost in all the media hysteria over the secondary question, is does a person's faith inform their judgment? And so should you look at a prospective candidate for elective office at any level, particularly the presidency, should you look at their faith tradition and assess that as part of your decision-making process? I'd suggest you do. Ben Carson agrees with me. Here's Carson on Meet the Press answering that predicate question.
Should a president's faith matter? Should your faith matter to voters?
Well, I guess it depends on what that faith is. If it's inconsistent with the values and principles of America, then of course it should matter. But if it fits within the realm of America and consistent with the Constitution, no problem.
And Ben Carson, he may be mild-mannered, he may be soft-spoken,
but he was very loud over the weekend with this.
He took a
question.
hardline position here. The follow-up question to Chuck Todd that everyone's talking about in terms of Carson's answer is this.
So do you believe that Islam is consistent with the Constitution?
No, I don't. I do not. I would not advocate that we put a Muslim in charge of this nation. I absolutely would not agree with that.
312-642-5600. Do you agree with what he said? Do you like what he said? Do you embrace what he's saying?
Well, and to be clear on this, too, Ted Cruz made the point there's no religious qualification for presidency of the United States in the Constitution.
Yeah,
so
Article 6.
That speaks to it, but this is not a constitutional question. Ben Carson understands that. This is not, is this constitutional or unconstitutional? He's asking a normative question. The question is a normative question. Carson gave a normative response. He would not advocate for someone of the Islamic persuasion to be president of the United States. So now he has joined Trump in what is termed by the media hot water. I'm not so sure it's hot water as it relates to Republican primary voters.
Well, these are the headlines I saw. Crossing the line, new campaign uproar, the GOP steps in it again. I mean, it was an honest answer to a question, should a Muslim become president of the United States? And I think what Ben Carson was, the argument is that Islam says convert or die. That's part of the creed of Islam. And is that related to the Constitution? Is that possible to have a Muslim as president of the United States?
And by the way, Carson was also asked about President Obama, and now we're rehashing this whole, was President Obama born in this country? Is President Obama a Christian or Muslim? And Carson said, which is what the answer is, President Obama says he's a Christian. I take him at his word. End of discussion. That's the smart answer. That's the correct answer. Steve in Hinsdale, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
That is right on the money. Still there?
Yes, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, he said how he believes, and my real name is Stephen, like in the Bible, S-T-E-P-H-E-N. I was named after the Christian martyr who lost his life standing up for Christ. And I think Ben's absolutely right, man. I'm glad he said it. And, whatever Jake Camper wants, I want the other thing, and then that's the sure path to the White House. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Steve. Succinct as always.
But this morning, Ben Carson said that he's reached out to the Muslim community, and now he's changing his tune. Now he's saying that a Muslim should run for president, but he doesn't think the American people are ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you think we're ready for that?
No.
Yes.
Will in Skokie, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a stupid question. A devout Orthodox Muslim would put the Sharia above the Constitution. So, of course, he can't be president because he can't take the oath faithfully to, support the Constitution and everything. So, I mean, Carson's there. It's just we've got to explain it to the stupid media.
Yes. Thanks for the call, Will. Yes, that's a good comment. Sean in Elmwood Park.
Does the Constitution embodies the freedom of every living human being, regardless of anything? Does Islam? Because I want to know why their wives are prancing around like fat ninjas. Can anybody tell me that? How many times do we read about a father killing his daughter because she dated somebody he didn't like? Islam is the absence of individual liberty. The Constitution is the embodiment of individual liberty. So you have an opportunity to see who really understands what the Constitution represents and who understands what the cult called Islam understands. The idea that we give these people somehow credence as they demonstrate time and time again. They have respect for no one that doesn't absolutely agree. Now, the same could be said for a Catholic, because I was born a Catholic. If you think I believe this green energy czar with a tin can on his head somehow speaks for God or says something that I should follow. So the question is, do you ultimately follow absolutely every little dogma your religion produces, or can you think for yourself?
Okay. Noted theologian and Don Rickles impersonator, Sean from Elmwood Park. Thank you for that. Bob and Schaumburg.
Good morning, you guys. The one thing that we've learned from our current occupant of the White House is he can change things with a pen and a telephone. Well, what if the Muslim gets in there and decides that Sharia law is something that he wants to impose on the nation?
Right, and that's a concern.
Thanks for the call, Bob. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's worth a kind of a point of order to say there are these pluralistic, peaceful Muslims, of course. Not everyone of the Islamic persuasion wants to impose Sharia law or extend the caliphate, but it is a legitimate question. And by the way, the repository, interestingly enough, the repository of most of those pluralistic Muslims is the United States of America. The problem is what we see in Islamic theocracies in North Africa and the Middle East, and suggests that, how do you assess what you see in the rest of the world, the overwhelming majority, the world in which the overwhelming majority of Muslims live versus the free society in which we live? And can you reconcile those two? Even can a Muslim American? I think probably some can, certainly in terms of how they live their lives. But in terms of being a policymaker, I mean, we have a Muslim American member of Congress,
right,
Keith Ellison from Minnesota.
Right.
I'm not so sure he's the best example of somebody you'd want to support for president.
The only problem I have with, peace-loving Muslims is that why don't they form a solidarity and go march on Washington when ISIS recruits lone wolves? Why aren't they standing up and saying that what they're doing is wrong? Because I'll tell you, if my fellow Episcopalian started killing people and for different various reasons, we would gather together and denounce it. But they don't do that. And I'm still waiting for a group of Muslims to come out and have a protest and have a march, denouncing ISIS, denouncing Al-Qaeda, denouncing, these lone wolves that are being recruited online. And they're not doing that. And that just does not sit well with me.
Well, the issue is there are some in the Islamic community that do.
I mean, is it happening and we're not seeing coverage of it?
Well, I think the voices are few and they're a bit muted. And that's the problem. I mean, Is
it for retaliation? Are they scared of it?
But regardless of the implications, this is the admonition for all of us is you have a duty to stand up when you should stand up and to call things that are right and to call things that are wrong. And I don't think the voices coming from the Islamic community are as stout as they could and should otherwise be. I agree with that.
(312-642-5600). Your phone calls about Ben Carson's rhetoric and a group this morning, an American Muslim group that's asking him to resign, drop out of the race. But first, here's your forecast. Plenty of sunshine today, a high of 71 degrees tonight, a low in the 50s. And tomorrow, mostly sunny, just another gorgeous day, a high of 76. Let's see how the outbound Kennedy is shaping up. Here's Jim Telemonte.
No fun at all, Amy. It's an hour from downtown to O'Hare, and inbound's getting heavier. It's now 45 minutes from the airport to downtown. Eden's 35 minutes either way between Lake Cook and Montrose, the Eisenhower. An hour and 4 minutes Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 50 minutes to Stevenson. 50 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore. Outbound an hour 10. It's a crash past Central on the right shoulder. The Ryan 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State slows Southwest Highway most of the way to 47th. From the Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue. Farther north, there are big delays southbound at 94. 21 to 176. The Reagan Tollway, very heavy, 31 to Eola. Winfield to Naperville Road, and Highland to the Tri-State Veterans Memorial. Slope out into the Reagan Tollway and Army Trail to Lake. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
I've never recommended a Chicagoland real estate agent on this show before, but I know one that guarantees to sell your home. That's Saul Z and the Z Team. 29 days pass without a sale. Saul will buy your home at a predetermined price. And working with Saul won't obligate you to anything, because if you aren't happy, you just cancel the contract. Saul does that because his marketing is on a whole different level. He literally has buyers lined up. For example, Deborah from Lincoln Park sold her home in only 9 days at $80,000 above the asking price. So why would you list with anyone else? Make Saul Z your first call. The Wall Street Journal ranks Saul among the top 250 agents in the country, and I know I'll be calling Saul when I'm ready to sell or buy a new home. So go to Call Saul, that's Saul, SAUL.net, to get your home sold fast at a great price. Don't leave money on the table. You can also call Saul directly at 888-346-0666. That's 888-346-0666. Or visit him online at callsaul.net and start packing.
Having a great smile to show off makes you feel good. There's no embarrassment associated with being able to flash your pearly whites whenever you want. If you'd like to feel that comfort and confidence with your smile, there's only one person who can help you. Dr. Neruzzi of Fox River Periodontics.
This is Brian DeWolf. I have 2 implants from Fox River Periodontics. I had one, I was happy with it, so I had another one done, and I love them. The idea of dentures didn't appeal to me at all. I didn't want that appliance in my mouth. These implants are wonderful. They're just like your real teeth. And they're probably even better because there's no nerve attached to them, so there's no pain, and they'll last forever. Dr. Neruzzi is great, and his staff is wonderful, and I trust him completely. If you're looking for dental implants, or considering dental implants for a missing tooth or for a whole mouthful, talk to Dr. Neruzzi. He'll be happy you did, and Fox River Periodontics.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants. Go to implantsforme.com.
Everyone is talking about War Room.
This is my favorite place in this house. I call it my war room.
Hi, this is Alex Kendrick, co-writer and director of War Room. Pray with us that God continues to use it to impact millions more for His glory.
War Room, starring Alex Kendrick, Priscilla Shirer, and T.C. Stallings.
You need to do your fighting in prayer.
War Room, rated PG, parental guidance suggested. Now playing. Tickets and showtimes at warroomthemovie.com.
I just sneaked into my kids' rooms and took temperatures while they're sleeping, thanks to my Exergen thermometer. All I did was swipe their foreheads for a few seconds. It didn't even wake them up. My sister, the nurse, told us about the Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer, and it's the best. Real value for the money and truly a lifesaver. Now I don't have to deal with ears or rears, if you know what I mean.
I'm Dr. Frank Pompey, founder of Exergen. Thousands of hospitals and clinics rely on temporal scanners. I'm confident you will too.
The Exergen Temporal Scanner. Pick one up at Costco and other fine retailers, or visit us at Exergen.com.
Hi, this is Shalom Klein of Get Down to Business, the show for small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship, powered by Tandem HR. On January 1st of 2016, the Affordable Care Act's transitional rules for small and mid-sized employers expire, and the employer health care mandate will apply to all employers with an average of 50 or more full-time employees. You need to be planning for 2016 now. If you have fewer than 50 employees, you still have some research to do. Your company may be eligible for certain tax credits. If eligible, these credits can help defray the costs associated with providing healthcare coverage. Understanding exactly whom employers must cover and why they become subject to the employer mandate isn't always clear. Consult appropriate advisors to make sure that you understand which provisions of the Affordable Care Act apply to your organization. Stay compliant and avoid penalties. For more tips, advice, and stories of entrepreneurial successes, listen to Get Down to Business with me, Shalom Klein, heard Sunday evenings at 6. Your Business Minute of the Day is brought to you by Everett Wealth Solutions.
AM 560, The Answer.
Talking about Ben Carson's comments, Donald Trump in some controversy as well for
why? Because he mentioned the Swedes.
Well, and for not correcting the person at his town hall who said President Obama was a Muslim, and the problem is Muslims without qualification. I also note, though, somebody said, how would the media treat Jerry Falwell if he ran for president? Would they say that would they be afraid that he would impose a Christian theocracy where he'd be elected? Go back to 1988 when Pat Robertson
right.
ran for president of the United States. How was he treated? He's a televangelist. He's a dangerous man because of his faith. I'm not a Pat Robertson, acolyte by any stretch, but it is interesting to compare and contrast the media's concerns depending on the faith persuasion. Craig in Schaumburg, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan and Amy. I'd like to suggest how the two of you can save our country. You know the new app that you're promoting? What I'd like to suggest that you do is it opens up with the two of you every single morning with the equivalent of like a Shawnometer type little sign right there. And you, or one of you, says, remember Republican candidates, when they ask you a question that is off topic, you laugh at them like Reagan and you say, there you go again. If you know off topic question, you raise the number and then you go to the next text.
There you go again. There you go. We've got a can for you, Greg. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Well, this morning, a Muslim advocacy group is asking Ben Carson to step out of the race. Here's Ibrahim Hooper.
It shouldn't be just American Muslims who are calling for Mr. Carson to withdraw or at least to repudiate these kinds of un-American comments. It should be our nation's political and religious leaders from all parts of the political spectrum.
And he's not Ben Carson. I mean, again, though, he did say that this morning that a Muslim should run, but that the American people aren't ready for that.
I'll tell you, Ted Cruz was at Heritage Action over the weekend. Donald Trump pulled out of that event late notice because he had a business transaction to tend to. So he said, another wonderful deal.
Yeah, but he ended up at a high school in a small town in Iowa at their homecoming football game. But okay, must have been a small business deal at the popcorn stand, at the concession stand, at the dance.
Consummated the business deal en route. So Ted Cruz at the Heritage Foundation, Heritage Action, which is an arm of the Heritage Foundation, effectively political arm. Interesting tack that he took, and he's taken this before, but this is where Cruz is trying to position himself behind Trump in particular, but also Carson and Fiorina, and draft around them at some point in the campaign, where everybody else and the normal approach is to talk about your record. Here's my record. Here's what I've accomplished. Here's how I've worked together with the other side to accomplish things. Cruz, in this outsider election, taking a very different tack. Cruz's approach is, tell me how you've gummed up the works. That's really what he's saying, and it is a very different messaging position.
Every time they run as a conservative. They run as one of us. Not a single person on that stage in California said, I'm a squishy establishment moderate, I stand for nothing. And yet they say, if you're actually one of us, you can't win. They're convinced every person in this stadium is unelectable. If you're really a conservative, you'll really stand up to Washington, you're unelectable. With a test I think we ought to apply to each of those men and women standing on the stages. That's great. You're adopting rhetoric today against Washington. If you want to be an outsider, fabulous. Show me where you stood and fought against career politicians in both parties.
Yeah, it seems like the value proposition that has great appeal in the Republican primary right now is essentially borrowing from the famous Buckley aphorism, standing athwart history yelling, stop. Tell me how you have stopped bad stuff from happening, whether it was Republicans doing it, Democrats doing it, Republicans and Democrats doing it together. Tell me how you have thrown a wrench into the machine. That's the value add for a Republican presidential candidate. Very, very interesting approach from Cruz, and it separates him from the pack as well. And we have one example of it again in Illinois last week. Bob Dole. Congressman Bob Dole, one of 3 Republicans to vote against defunding Planned Parenthood that passed the House, of course. Bob Dole trying to do his Mark Kirk impersonation, and if he continues to do his Mark Kirk impersonation, he's going to wind up in the same place that Mark Kirk is going to wind up in after the 2016 election cycle, which is in the private sector.
There you go again. The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
What could you do with an extra $500, $1,000, or even $1,500 per month? How would that change things for you? Would you buy a new car, pay off bills, or just feel a bit more secure about your retirement? What if I told you there may be a way to make your dreams a reality? I'm talking about trading and investing in the market. Now, before you say, oh no, that's not for me, just hear me out. I want to invite you to a free trading and investing class so you can check this out. And right now, if you call in and mention offer Radio 50, Online Trading Academy will comp the class and even send you home with a free $247 home study program. Call right now and reserve your seat while space is still available. Call 888-601-TRADE. Call 888-601-TRADE. Mention offer Radio 50. Call 888-601-TRADE or online at otaclass.com. That's 888-601-8723 or otaclass.com.
It's time for a little R&R, courtesy of ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Escape to Wisconsin with an overnight stay package for the Schuster Mansion Bed and Breakfast. Our friend Paul there absolutely loves it. It's in Milwaukee there. You can spend the night in Molly's room, his favorite. Their 2-room luxury suite has a private bath and a concierge service that includes breakfast in the Victorian dining room and fresh chocolate chip cookies. Yours for only $79, valued at $169. If you need to stay closer to home but want to laugh out loud, be a part of the show at Comedy Sports Improv. Tickets are normally $44 a pair, but find them at ChicagoRadioDeals.com for only $22. And be sure to get your car ready for that special night out with a new deal from Fuller's Car Wash of Elk Grove Village. Get this, a full-service car wash includes wash, vacuum, window stash, $18 deal for only $10 at ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Make a date night and take advantage of all the entertainment deals waiting for you only at ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Wow, coming up next. Oh, who's going to be here today?
Diamond and Silk, the most entertaining pundits of the election cycle to this point. The big Trump fans, not so big fans of Carly Fiorina. We're going to get their reviews on all the presidential candidates at 7:37.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say hello once again to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Republican presidential candidate Ben Carson at the center of a growing controversy after saying he does not think a Muslim should become president. This morning, the president of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy believes Carson has a point with his comments about Muslims, but needs to clarify.
This is a very American intrinsic fight against theocracy, but we can't alienate our allies.
Sure.
So we need to go from a president that's been an apologist for all Islamists to one that can thread the needle between Islamism and not conflate it with all Muslims.
Dr. Zuhdi Jasser says there's a large difference between Islamists and Muslims. Former Secretary of State, Senator, and First Lady Hillary Clinton trying to make the case she's a political outsider due to her gender.
I cannot imagine anyone being more of an outsider than the first woman president.
CBS's Face the Nation, Clinton dismissing the impact some Republican candidates without political experience will have if they push the same GOP agendas as career politicians. This morning, get set for your Christmas shopping just a little early. The head of Microsoft's Xbox division believes Sony's getting ready to cut the price on its PlayStation 4. Phil Spencer said late yesterday Sony's recent decision to drop the price of the PS4 in Japan is a sure sign the price will come down here. This year's Primetime Emmy Awards are in the history books. Game of Thrones, the big winner, winning 12 of 24 awards that it was nominated for. Officials in DuPage County say they've arrested a man on charges that he sexually assaulted and stabbed to death a 15-year-old girl 30 years ago. We should receive more information on that investigation later on today. A man facing charges after a Lansing woman was abducted last week. The suspect, arrested yesterday in Holland, Michigan, is currently being held at the Ottawa County Jail. No one hurt after fire breaks out at the University of Chicago. The blaze began yesterday morning inside Harold Leonard Stewart Hall. Chicago Public Schools chief says the district will issue layoff notices by Thanksgiving if there is no financial help from the state. And the biggest pumpkin in the world is bigger than an old VW Beetle. The record-setting pumpkin was found this past weekend at the Cedarburg Wine and Harvest Festival near Milwaukee. It weighs in more than 2,000 pounds. The man who grew it knows about big pumpkins. Not only did Illinois factory worker Gene McMullen grow the gargantuan gourd, he also grew the pumpkin that used to be the biggest, a 1,600-pounder that he grew and entered to win the contest last year. Chicago sports, Cleveland over the White Sox 6-3. St. Louis over the Cubs 4-3. And in the NFL at Soldier Field, Arizona topped the Bears 48-23. The news is a service of the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. Someone you know is suffering from Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. They're dealing with excruciating pain. Help someone you know and support the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America at ccfa.org. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
You saw him moderate the CNN presidential debate.
Hugh Hewitt, a nice man.
Now you can see him live at Freedom Summit Chicago 2015. Hugh Hewitt is coming to Freedom Summit.
Hugh Hewitt.
Hugh Hewitt.
Hugh Hewitt. Hugh Hewitt.
And he joins an already packed lineup that includes Ann Coulter and AM 560's Sean Hannity. Freedom Summit Chicago on November 14th in Itasca with Hugh Hewitt, Sean Hannity, and Ann Coulter. Get your tickets today at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com.
At Galaxy, they'll help make the house you have into the home you love. Right now, get kitchen or bath cabinets, 2 for the price of 1. Contact Galaxy 773-783-8300 or galaxyhome.com.
I'm Lex, CEO of Balance of Nature. At Balance of Nature, we believe in real communication. Whether you call into the office or hear a success story on the radio, you can be sure it's real, unsolicited, and unscripted conversation.
I was on thyroid medicine for 5 years. I have completely got off of it, and all my blood work came back excellent.
It does a lot of good for me because I feel it works. The reason why I'm taking it because I've got Hep C. Once I began taking your stuff, it took a few months, but believe it or not, my liver enzymes are way down and it's normal now.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
736 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Telemonti.
Thanks, Mike. The inbound Kennedy is now 55 minutes O'Hare to downtown. The express lanes only save a couple. Outbound, it's an hour. At the Edens, 35 minutes either way between Lake Cook and Montrose. The Eisenhower, an hour and 10 minutes. Thorndale to the post office. Outbound, 58 minutes. The Stevenson, looking at 50 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Make that an hour. It just jumped up to an hour. Really jammed Harlem to Kedzie. Now about an hour and 5 minutes after a crash past Central. The Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound stop and go 132 to pass 137. Northbound and the other tollways are all very heavy, too. Traffic is service at the Milwaukee Airport with all the major U.S. airlines, including Southwest, Delta, United American, U.S. Airways, Alaska, Frontier, OneJet, and Air Canada. Milwaukee is the O'Hare alternative. Visit flymke.com today. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Pleasant day ahead, plenty of sunshine. 71, 50 overnight, 76 tomorrow, and 77 on Wednesday. 55 at O'Hare, 59 along Chicago's lakefront. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Turnkey IT, giving you the freedom to focus on your business while they handle the technical stuff. Turnkey IT.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, and you tired of those mindless pundit roundtables on the cable news networks? I know I am. We have two sisters and sisters.
Well, they're biological sisters, yes.
Yeah, Diamond and Silk. They have a YouTube channel, The Viewer's View, where they tell you exactly how they view modern politics and media coverage of such. And they're big Trump fans, and they've been giving their unvarnished opinions in a way that, frankly, surpasses Donald Trump for entertainment value, in my view. So we're happy to have Diamond and Silk joining us now. Diamond and Silk, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us.
So I saw your reviews of the debate last week. You weren't real taken. I mean, a majority of Americans thought, Republicans in particular, thought Carly Fiorina won the debate, but you weren't particularly taken with Carly Fiorina.
No, I wasn't. You know, she used those nice, lovely words to talk to people, but we know that she's not going to do anything. Listen, we don't need a leader leading our country that led 30,000 people to the unemployment line. We don't need a leader like that. So her words is not going to make a difference in this election. We don't want to hear nice words. We want someone that's going to show action, and that's why we stopped the Trump.
Well, Diamond and Silk, how long have you two been Republicans?
Listen. We just switched our party. We just put up a new video where we just switched our party. We decided, you know what, if the establishment won't stand with Donald Trump, if the media don't want to stand with him, then we the people going to stand with him so that we can get him nominated and get him in office.
Now, can I borrow Silk sometimes? Because I need someone offering positive reinforcement for everything I say, like Silk does for you, Diamond. I mean, come on. So you're in North Carolina. So are you out there working the precincts, walking neighborhoods, preaching the Trump gospel?
Well, I do it on my YouTube channel. Sometimes everybody is not going to go along with what you say. So sometimes you have to be very, very careful. But I am very vocal on my YouTube channel and just spreading the word that way when I make media appearances. And if you can see what we're all about if you go to our website, diamondandsilk.com.
Now, how are your parents responding to this and other family members and friends? Are they supporting you?
Well, absolutely, they're supporting us. Listen, nobody would have ever paid attention had Donald Trump had he not came on the scene. He started talking in our language where we can understand it. The first thing he started saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to keep the American people safe by securing that border. You know, a nation without borders is not a nation. A nation that don't have secure borders, that's not a nation. Why hasn't nobody thought to secure the American people with everything that's going on in our country? Then I'm going to bring jobs back where we can thrive again. So my parents are they love it. They absolutely love it. They're excited. And they stuck with Trump too.
So let's go through some of the other candidates. I know you referred to Carly Fiorina as like a dollar store flower. What do you think of Ben Carson?
Yeah. Ben Carson, listen, we do not need another meek and humble president. I need somebody's voice that speaks volumes. You know, Ben Carson, we respect him, but I'm looking at Donald Trump. That's who I want to be the next president. That's right.
Yeah, but Diamond and Silk, if something happens, Donald Trump drops out or he doesn't win the primary, are you still going to back a Republican candidate for president?
I have no idea. I'm only looking at Donald Trump. Donald Trump. This is what the American people is going to have to realize. He can't be bought. Nobody is going to be buying him. That means he's going to be working for the American people and not for the puppet masters, the people that pull the strings, and that's been pulling them for a long time.
All right, they're getting animated. You said Bobby Jindal sounds like a Christmas ornament. What about Ted Cruz? What do you think of him?
Ted Cruz, listen, Ted Cruz, I remember when he said, I don't have any thoughts on Ted Cruz right now. I'm going to tell you this much. I'm very happy that he hadn't thrown Donald up under the bus. I do like that about him. That's the only thought that I have. And another thing that I like about Donald Trump, he's not going to be paid a salary to work for the American people. That says a lot about him. That says a lot about his character. I love it.
What about Marco Rubio? You see how big his ears are? What do you think about Marco Rubio?
Listen, I'm not here to talk about his ears, but you know what? He would probably be good on intelligence if his ears are that big, because that means he can hear what's going on all around the world. You know, listen, I am not looking at those other candidates, especially the ones that's already been politicians, because they've been politicians for years and hadn't done nothing for the American people. The new silent majority is speaking. We want you to do something for us, the American people, not just speak politics and babble-jabble.
Now, Diamond and Silk, I told some of my sister friends, my neighbor friends, that neighbor-in-laws and my sisters, that you were coming on our program. And one question they wanted me to ask is, are you guys being paid by Donald Trump for this YouTube channel or for your feelings?
Listen, we are not being paid by Donald Trump. We have never met Donald Trump. We just stuck with Trump. He is speaking with all Americans. He's waking up America. He just shook awake all of us and let us know this is what's going on and this is how I'm going to fix it. And that's why we stuck with Trump.
So if Donald Trump is the Republican nominee for president and Hillary is the nominee for the Democrats. How do you see that playing out? What do you think about Hillary? She said she's an outsider.
Donald Trump is going to chew her up and spit her out. Donald Trump is going to win this.
That's right.
See, listen, you have to understand, Hill ain't Bill. Right up under Bill Clinton, he outsourced all of these manufacturing jobs, and people was out of work. I don't want to hear nothing another Democrat have to say. They don't care about the American people.
That's right.
What about Bernie Sanders?
Ben, I don't want to hear nothing he has to say. I don't want to hear nothing that he has to say. He's already been in politics, not going to do nothing for the American people. Going to do the same. Going to keep our borders unsecure. Going to outsource our jobs. They don't care about us, the American people.
Yeah, while they talking politics, Donald Trump is talking common sense.
That's right. And that's what we love about him.
Oh, nice reversal there. Silk talking and Diamond U2ing.
Silk and Diamond, or Diamond and Silk. Who do you think should be? Who do you think should be Donald Trump's running mate?
Well, I haven't really thought about it yet.
Yeah.
You know, but what he needs is somebody that's going to balance him. But I can tell you who I don't want to be his running mate, Carly Fiorina. I do not want her. She don't need to be at the White House around no house. No house.
Well, why do you hate her so much?
No house.
No house.
Why? Why don't you like her?
Why should she be homeless?
Because she outsourced 30,000 jobs. Those jobs belong to real American people. Imagine a veteran that lost his job, an African American that probably lost their job, white American that probably lost their job. I don't want to hear anything she has to say because she's a sellout. She sold America down the drain, and that's what the American people don't like.
What do you think about Jeb Bush? Should Donald Trump have apologized to Jeb Bush's wife?
Listen, Donald Trump handled himself very well. Jeb Bush, the only thing he can do is he can run to be America's cure for sleep. Because I tell you, every time he talks, I want to go to sleep. I want to just lay down and take a nice, lovely nap. He's ever ready to put us all to sleep is what he is. That's right.
Now, Diamond and Silk, do you ladies have families? Do you have day jobs? Tell us about yourselves.
Listen, I use my voice now to promote, to look at the media biasness and let people know about media biasness. Yes, we do have family. Yes, our family do support us. And listen, we're very excited. And we're very excited about stuffing for Trump. And that's who we want to be our next president.
And if you go to diamondandsilk.com, you will see why we stuff for Trump.
Yes.
And is this your first foray into really getting involved in politics, or have you been involved before?
No, this is the first time. I never paid attention. And I'm sad to say, I never paid attention. But when I look at everything that's been pushed in our country and the things that I really just didn't, I just, gave a side eye to, I'm like, wait a minute. Something ain't right here. And then when you have a man to come out to start speaking things that's the truth, that we, the silent majority, really feel, that's right. That's who's going to be the next president. That's who we pushing for. And all Americans should get behind him and vote for Trump because he can't be bought. Can't nobody buy him.
And you ladies are registered to vote. You're good to go.
We are good to go, yeah, and we have already changed our party so we can vote for him in the primary. Exactly.
Would you agree with me, Diamond and Silk, that you two are the best tandem since Peaches and Herb?
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, Diamond and Silk. We want to have you back again as the campaign moves on, more debates and stuff. We want to get your insights. All right.
Okay, thank you very much. DiamondandSilk.com. Stump for Trump, baby. Stump for Trump.
Stump for Trump, baby. DiamondandSilk.com. Diamond and Silk.
I have a great suggestion.
Thank you so much.
What do you think about them appearing at Freedom Summit Chicago?
Oh, I'd love it.
I'll ask Jeff Reisman today if we can arrange that.
I will be Silk to Diamond and Silk. I'll just be saying, "You go, girls," in the background.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Dial in the number right now. Hey, today it's going to be pleasant. Plenty of sunshine, a high of 71 degrees. In fact, all week we're going to have just spectacular weather. No rain in the forecast at all and highs in the mid to upper 70s. Let's get the travel times. How's that outbound Kennedy shaping up? Here's Jim Telemonte.
Oh, Amy, the Kennedy's no fun at all in either direction. We're looking at an hour and 5 minutes from O'Hare to downtown. And outbound, it's still a full hour. The Eden's 35 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 30. And how about the Eisenhower? It is an hour and a half from Thorndale to downtown, an hour and 15 minutes from Manheim. Outbound, an hour and 3 minutes, Post Office to Thorndale. Stevenson, now an hour and 5 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound, 55 minutes. The Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive all bottled up southbound Montrose to Fullerton. Northbound from the Stevenson to Jackson. Eastbound 390 has big delays. Gary to Rollwing. Tri-State southbound, still 132 to past 137. Northbound most of the way from 95th to 31st and from the Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue. The other tollways are all very heavy as well. The bright spot is Northwest Indiana. No delays or problems to report. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
Looking to secure financing on a new home or refinance your existing home, then you need to call David Hochberg, Vice President of Pearl Mortgage. Jack, financial planner at the area's largest local bank, income $350K a year, called to do a cash-out refi. David helped Jack combine his first loan, HELOC, and take out $80K to pay his kid's private school. David asked Jack why he didn't use the supposed mortgage experts at his bank, and Jack told David he trusted David more than anyone in his bank's mortgage department. If you're thinking of calling a big bank for your mortgage, ask yourself this question. If a financial planner making $350,000 a year doesn't trust his mortgage experts, why should you? If you or somebody you know is looking to do a cash-out refinance, call David now at 312-751-1333. That's 312-751-1333. You can email him, david@perldavid.com, or visit his website, am560david.com. That's am560david.com. David's helped thousands of AM560 listeners, and he'll help you. Call David now, 312-751-1333. Pearl Mortgage is an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee 4358, licensed by DBO under California RMLA NMLS 19186. pearlmortgage.com/licensing.
If you're ready to drop your phone plan due to dropped connections, now is the time. It's the grand opening of Wireless Zone in Westmont from 5 to 8 p.m. on Thursday the 24th. Make the switch and keep your current numbers for your cell and home phone. Plus, get a $300 activation credit. The Westmont mayor will be on site, along with reps from your favorite product lines. A raffle, refreshments, and prizes lead the grand opening of Wireless Zone. 131 West Ogden in Westmont at 5 p.m. on Thursday the 24th. 630-541-3461.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
Your product is terrific. I feel great. More energy. I've lost some weight. I can think clearer and faster. Everything that he said, Dr. Howard says it does on the program, it does, and then some. Boy, oh boy, I feel terrific. Nothing compares with this. Honestly, I know people always say this in testimonials, but this is the God's honest truth. I feel like a man 20 years younger.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, boy, President Obama is once again proving that he is like school on a holiday. No class. Yeah, man, all right, man.
Did you get that from Diamond and Silk?
I got that from Fat Albert.
Oh, that's right.
Back in the day before Cosby was a sexual predator. So a couple of stories. One, President Obama to nominate the first openly gay Secretary of the Army, Eric Fanning. Mm-hmm.
Did you see his picture?
Why?
I mean, did you just take a look at the guy?
No, why should I?
He just doesn't look an intimidating force by any means. Jazz hands.
Interesting. I mean, I'm sure that Eric.
I'm sure he's capable.
I'm sure he would have been nominated even if he were not openly gay. I'm sure there's not a political point being made here.
No, not at all.
No, I don't want to be cynical, and I'm not going to be cynical about this either. Obama just inviting some friends to greet Pope Francis when he visits the South Lawn on Wednesday. Some friends from the Catholic community or the religious community. Gene Robinson, the first gay Episcopal bishop.
Former.
Matteo Williamson, the transgender head of the LGBT Catholic group, Dignity USA.
How many members do they have?
I don't know. Sister Simone Campbell, nun who lobbied for Obamacare's passage, despite the fact that, funds abortions and compels Catholic institutions to provide contraception, went after the Little Sisters of the Poor. Nice job, Sister Simone. So the obviously the classless antagonism towards Pope Francis and, frankly, towards the military, I think you could argue, And juxtapose that with this story from the New York Times yesterday, disturbing. U.S. soldiers told to ignore Afghan allies' abuse of boys. Eric Fanning, one of his first jobs, perhaps. At night, we can hear the screaming, but we're not allowed to do anything about it. Gregory Buckley Sr. recalled his son telling him before he was shot to death at the base in 2012. He urged his son to tell his superiors. My son said that his officers told him to look the other way because it's their culture. Rampant sexual abuse of children has long been a problem in Afghanistan, particularly among the armed commanders who dominate much of the rural landscape. The practice is called boy play. And American soldiers and Marines have been instructed not to intervene, in some cases not even when their Afghan allies have abused boys on U.S. military bases. This is according to interviews with special forces. Listen to this. The reason that we're here, and this is Dan Quinn, a former special forces captain. The reason we're here is because we heard the terrible things the Taliban were doing to people, how they were taking away human rights, but we're putting people into power who would do things that were worse than the Taliban did. That was something village elders voiced to me. Dan Quinn beat up an American-backed militia commander for keeping a boy chained to his bed as a sex slave. This is what's going on in Afghanistan, and U.S. soldiers are told to stand down. You wonder why our men and women come back from the front with post-traumatic stress. It's not just the violent confrontations with terrorists. It's also what they're forced to do at the direction of their superiors, or more to the point, not do. Sickening stuff. Quickly, Ralph and Rantoul.
Yeah, good morning. So is all of our stuff and people going to be easier to see with big rainbows painted on the side of them? And are we going to see more drill routines like out of Stripes with boom, shagalaga, razzle, dazzle, with a little bit more pep put into those, into the parade grounds?
Good question, Ralph.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Do shopping online and using public Wi-Fi make you vulnerable to identity theft? Does giving out your social security number put you at risk? Is your dog at risk of identity theft? Yes, yes, and no. Your dog has absolutely nothing to worry about. But we do live in a world that can expose a lot of personal information, and that can lead to having your identity stolen and losing everything you've worked for. That's why at LifeLock we use proprietary technology to detect a wide variety of threats. And unlike free credit monitoring services, we have a dedicated U.S.-based staff to help restore your identity if it ever is compromised. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. But if you ask yourself whether you're worth protecting with the best, isn't the answer a resounding yes? Plans start at $9.99 a month, and now you can get 10% off. Go to LifeLock.com and use promo code NEWS.
Thanks to all of our listeners who have purchased thousands of MyPillows over the last 18 months and are enjoying your best sleep ever, but that still leaves thousands of you who haven't taken advantage of the buy one, get one free offer. What are you waiting for? It is so important to get a great night's sleep. Don't wait any longer. MyPillow helps with snoring, headaches, neck pain, insomnia, allergies. Plus, MyPillow is washable, and it keeps its shape to give you support where you need it most. American made, the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. For the MyPillow buy one, get one free offer, visit MyPillow.com. Type Amy in the promo code or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201. 800-489-0201.
Hey, if you need to sell your home in Chicagoland, Sean Hannity here with some very important facts that you need to know. 40% of homes hitting the market in Chicago are not selling. Now, those are horrible odds. That's exactly why you need to call Saul Z and the Z team at Keller Williams, based right here in Chicagoland. Saul sells a home on average every 24 hours and attracts hundreds of buyers every month locally, nationally, and internationally. Recently, the Wall Street Journal ranked Saul's team in the top 110 teams out of 1.2 million agents in the U.S. Saul Z guarantees to sell your home in 29 days at a price and deadline that you agree to, or he will buy your home or he'll sell it for free. Plus, working with Saul is also risk-free. After 24 hours, if he's not doing his job, you can walk away free and clear. Don't worry, you won't. Just call the agent I would call if I needed to sell my home and lived in Chicagoland. Call Saul now at 888-346-0666. That's 888-346-0666. Or go online at callsaul.net. That's callsaul.net.
Inventory is everything.
Product sitting on shelves is money sitting on shelves. Managing our inventory is key. That's why I use KeepStock Solutions from Grainger. KeepStock Solutions help keep just the right amount of inventory on hand. KeepStock Solutions help keep the cost down. KeepStock Solutions keep me a happy camper. What's the key to better inventory management? KeepStock Solutions from Grainger. Get it? Got it? Good. Visit Grainger.com/KeepStock for more information. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Winning, it's what we do.
The arm fires long. Brown runs underneath the 30. Lights the afterburner. 10-5 and a touchdown.
Hit or be hit.
He is sacked and he is wrestled down back near the 35-yard line.
Hear all of the hard-hitting action every weekend right here on the Husky Sports Network. Tune in Saturday, September 26th at noon as the Huskies take on the Boston College Eagles. Right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Here are the stories we're following right now. Prospect Heights teachers' strike continues today, and police in Chicago planning to move more officers to the street. Complete look at weather after Fox News, WIND, Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. The UN gets samples from a suspect Iran military site thought to be home to nuclear weapons work amid a nuclear deal Congress was unable to block. Fox News Radio's Jessica Gallagher live in our Middle East Bureau.
The chief of the United Nations Nuclear Agency maintains a probe of the Parchin nuclear site in Iran meets strict agency standards, while acknowledging Iranian experts provided samples from the site for analysis. This type of sampling is typically done by the UN nuclear watchdog agency's own experts, but Tehran carried out the sampling at the suspected nuclear research site. The transfer appears to be part of a confidential draft agreement allowing Iranian experts to collect samples from the site while being monitored by cameras, Dave.
Jessica, Ben Carson has run into controversy in the race for president, telling NBC.
I would not advocate that we put a Muslim in charge of this nation.
Fellow Republican candidate Lindsey Graham says Carson should apologize. Donald Trump says,
we talk about freedom of speech. He feels very strongly about it.
Carson is second in a new NBC Online survey. He's third in a CNN poll that has Carly Fiorina surging to second. Trump is still the leader in both. Arraignment is expected soon in Boston. In the murder of a little girl known for months as Baby Doe, until she was ID'd last week as Bella Bond. Her mother's boyfriend, Michael McCarthy's charged with murder. The mom's charged as an accessory.
Sources telling us McCarthy killed the 2.5-year-old by punching her in the stomach. Bond is accused of helping him hide her body before it washed up on a beach north of Boston back in June.
Jessica Reyes with Fox 25 TV in Boston.
We've also learned through sources that the two are accused of keeping Bella's body in a refrigerator for a month after her death. Rochelle Bond apparently telling police McCarthy killed her because he believed that she was possessed by demons.
The executive who ran the company at the heart of a salmonella outbreak tied to tainted peanut butter will be sentenced today, and Stuart Parnell could get life in prison. That outbreak killed 9 people, sickened more than 700. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Mostly sunny and 56 degrees, 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Officials in DuPage County say they have a man under arrest on charges that he sexually assaulted and stabbed to death a 15-year-old girl 30 years ago. Sheriff John Zaruba tells us 62-year-old Michael Jones was arrested Sunday at his Champaign home. He's accused in the slaying of Christina Wesselman, who was last seen July 21st of 1985, walking along a path in unincorporated Glen Ellen. A number of Chicago police officers could be heading back to the streets to help combat violence. Mayor Emanuel says the department is planning to reassign 319 administrative officers to positions on the street. Teachers in Prospect Heights District 23 remain on strike, leaving around 1,500 students out of the classroom for a 4th day in a row. A Northwest Indiana man is dead after falling into Lake Michigan. Earl Helmuth was swept into the water by a large wave while standing on Lighthouse Pier at Michigan City, Indiana. No one hurt after a fire broke out at the University of Chicago. Officials say the blaze began yesterday at Harold Leonard Stewart Hall. There was some damage to second-floor classrooms. Chicago sports, Cleveland over the White Sox 6-3. St. Louis over the Cubs 4-3. NFL. At Soldier Field, the Cardinals over the Bears, 48-23. The news service of the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. Someone you know is suffering from Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. They're dealing with excruciating pain. and days when they won't be able to get out of bed. Help someone you know and support the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America at ccfa.org. 8:03, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, and from the Fox Business Network, here's Pat O'Neill.
From the Fox Business Network, a bounce back on Wall Street. That's the hope, with overseas markets showing some improvement despite ongoing global growth worries. Asian stocks were mostly lower, but most European markets were rebounding, and U.S. futures were showing modest gains. One Fed official says last week's decision to hold interest rates steady was a close call. San Francisco Fed Chief John Williams.
Weakness abroad has put some significant headwinds on our forecast for growth and also for pushing down inflation. So it's making it a little harder to get inflation back to our 2% goal.
Williams on Fox Sunday Morning Futures. Volkswagen shares have plunged 20% overseas. The German car maker has stopped U.S. sales of certain diesel cars after allegations it cheated on U.S. emission tests. The communications app Skype is down, with users in the U.S. and elsewhere reporting connectivity problems. Company says the instant messaging part of the service is working. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Pat O'Neill.
8:04, and a check of traffic and weather next on AM 560.
She's bold.
You're not black, so drop the racism crap.
She's controversial.
When you bring the people here, you bring those cultures here.
She's unapologetic.
This is a total fraud and a fig leaf.
And she's coming to Freedom Summit Chicago 2015. She's Ann Coulter.
Now I'm talking.
See best-selling author and conservative firebrand Ann Coulter live on Saturday, November 14th at Freedom Summit Chicago in Itasca. Get your tickets now at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com.
Call Quicken Loans now at 800-QUICKEN to see if you qualify for the government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. And for 5 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And for the second year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or visit QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Number 3030.
What do Fortune 500 companies do when they need to find new workspace? They call Regis at 1-800-OFFICES. With Regis, you can easily expand today and get your people up and running tomorrow. With fully furnished, tech-powered co-working spaces, offices, and admin support, Regis manages the details so you can focus on your business. Short-term, long-term, all on your terms. Regis makes it easy and affordable. Call Regis now at 1-800-OFFICES and get a free office or meeting room for a day. Regis, here to help you grow.
8:06. Developing story we're following in the newsroom this morning. Skype is down across the world this morning. U.S., Australia, New Zealand, the U.K., much of Europe. Everyone says they're having trouble logging on to Skype. Engineers say they're trying to fix it. Always trying to fix traffic in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Well, we sure need an answer on the inbound Ike. Like, it is jammed from North Avenue most of the way to Ashland. It is an hour and a half to get from Thorndale to downtown, an hour and 15 minutes from Manheim, outbound an hour and 10 minutes downtown to Thorndale. Edens, 40 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 35. The Kennedy, an hour and 5 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound an hour. The Stevenson, an hour and 8 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 55 minutes. Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound, slow 132 to past 137. Northbound 87th to 31st. And from the Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue, Adams Tollway slow from the Elgin Toll most of the way to Roselle. Then jammed Arlington Heights Road to Lee with a crash in the right lane. Reagan Tollway, a mess. Orchard to Farnsworth, crash on the right shoulder. And slow York to the Tri-State. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solutions provider. Here's meteorologist Jeremy Pearson.
Plenty of sunshine will make for a nice day today. High 71, clear tonight, low 50. Gorgeous tomorrow with mostly sunny skies as well, high 76. Wednesday will produce sunshine and will make for a nice day, high 77. I'm Jeremy Pearson, AM 560, The Answer.
56 at O'Hare. It is 60 along Chicago's lakefront. Next news, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Illinois Rising, hosted by Dan Proft and the Illinois Policy Institute. Sunday afternoons at 3 on AM 560 The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Should a president's faith matter? Should your faith matter to voters?
Well, I guess it depends on what that faith is.
The Constitution provides that there should be no religious test for public office, and I'm a constitutionalist.
We certainly do have a problem. I mean, you have a problem throughout the world.
What's the problem?
Well, you have radicals that are doing things. I mean, it wasn't people from Sweden that blew up the World Trade Center, Jake.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan, Amy. Gird your loins, Illinoisans, because Truth in Accounting, which is a nonpartisan nonprofit, has released its annual financial state of the states report. Boiling it down, one of the things they do is identify the 5 sinkhole states, which are the worst places for taxpayers to live.
Let me guess.
And the 5 sunshine states, which are the best states for taxpayers to live in. And I wonder in which category Illinois falls.
Well, I don't know. But if I were a betting woman, well, you can answer that question.
Well, I would just say this, that if you're thinking about moving, you might want to consider South Dakota, Utah, Wyoming, North Dakota, or Alaska. And I'll just leave it there. But now joining us with more details on their annual report is Sheila Weinberg, the founder of Truth in Accounting. Sheila, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So the financial state of the states report finds Illinois how situated?
Well, the good news is it's not the worst. New Jersey and Connecticut are actually worse according to our calculations. Illinois does come in third, though.
When you say your calculations, how do you calculate this? What do you look at?
We look at all their assets. We add their off-balance sheet pension and retiree health care liability to come up with money needed to pay bills. And then to get a common number, we divide that by the number of taxpayers per state.
And so what's Illinois' burden, bottom line, per taxpayer?
It's $45,000. So each taxpayer in Illinois would need to send a check for $45,000 down to Springfield today.
Okay. Make that out to state of Illinois.
Yeah,
okay.
Just
bounce the check. Either.
Just to cover the bills that they've accumulated to date. We're not including ones that they're going to accumulate in the future.
Wow. Now, New Jersey, number one here, and Governor Chris Christie has been touting that he's been very successful for that state. I'm surprised by this number and that they're number one.
Well, they have been, Governor Christie claimed he balanced his budget the first 2 years in office, but he failed to pay the minimum on his pension credit card. He didn't pay anything into his pension plans those first 2 years, so the way they calculate the budget, which is cash in, cash out, he claimed a balanced budget.
Wow.
And when you talk about Illinois, $45,000 burden per Illinois resident, Illinois taxpayer, I should say, what is driving that $45,000 figure? What's the preponderance of it?
Well, the most of it is obviously, as we, fortunately, people have finally been discussing the unfunded pension liability at $111 billion. And then unfunded retiree health care benefits at $45 billion. People do pay a lot of attention to pensions, as they should, but we do need to keep in mind that all these employees also get health care benefits for the rest of their lives.
Let's talk about the Sunshine States and why they're so successful.
Well, I was looking at, I'm going to have an interview with somebody in Idaho right after this call, and I was looking at why they were a Sunshine State, and their unfunded pension and retiree health care liabilities are, in the, $300 million, which is, a small percentage of their debt and money available to pay bills. So it seems to be the states that have gotten themselves into the pension and retiree health care schemes that have gotten the states into trouble. And also the driver, we believe, of that is that they haven't had to report these in their budgets properly or even on their balance sheets at all. So us accountants have a great adage, if you don't measure it, it's hard to manage it, and this has definitely been a truth with these pension plans.
You accountants with your aphorisms. Sheila Weinberg, she's the founder of Truth in Accounting, joining us to talk about the financial state of the states report. Interestingly, too, you look at the sunshine states, the states that are in the best fiscal health, and Alaska, North Dakota, Wyoming, Utah, South Dakota. That's just big sky country, small states, sparse populations. But if you look just a little bit further down the list, Florida is in a pretty good position. Florida is certainly more populous than Illinois. So you have some big states on this list with urban centers that are doing substantially better than an Illinois or a New Jersey.
Yeah, and keep in mind we're doing a common calculation, so we're doing it per taxpayer. So, it doesn't matter how many taxpayers you have in a state. We're dividing the debt or the surplus by those taxpayers. So, the Sunshine States also have, big oil. You could claim that, but I would say, hey, the elected officials aren't spending, all that income when it comes in like other states are doing.
So when I look at your methodology, money needed divided by number of state taxpayers equals the taxpayer burden. What can we do? What suggestions do you have that we could get out of this hole? We could get out of this debt?
Well, unfortunately, we've been pushing all of these numbers for years, and nobody's been paying attention. But fortunately, now the numbers have gotten so bad that people do need to pay attention to them. And we say that guys, we have a long-term cash shortfall, so you need to either bring more money into the state or take less out. And a lot of times when they do, quote, reforms, they seem to do the opposite of those two.
Well, I think some people have been paying attention to the numbers that you've been putting out because they are former Illinois residents, people that have moved to other states, and it's a substantial number. And the same thing with New Jersey, which is suffering from substantial outmigration. Usually it's New Jersey and Illinois over the last several years that are competing for the state with the most outmigration. So some people are listening, and maybe that should be instructive for policymakers.
Yeah, and that's one of the data points we have on our statedatalab.org website, where you can compare the states and just see, not just look at our numbers, but look at outbound shipments, look at unemployment rates, housing builds, and just see, where Illinois falls in with the other states. And it's a good place if you want to move to figure out where you should move to.
Now, in all your years of doing this, have you noticed a state that has changed in the rankings, that has improved?
I think, Wisconsin did get a little bit better, no state. Some states have moved around a little bit, but most of them haven't jumped back, around a lot.
Well, I always wanted to be on a crab boat in the Bering Sea, so I could move to Alaska, which is one of the 5 Sunshine States. So it is food for thought, so to speak.
Yeah, we wouldn't mind you being in North Dakota, Dan.
Sure, I know a lot lot of people would like me in North Dakota as well. Yes, a lot of people would like me in a state other than Illinois. So let me ask you this, though. We have some proposals on the table. Bruce Rauner's proposed expanding the sales tax, the state sales tax. Tiny Dancer in Chicago, $500 million property tax increase. Now he's proposing a commuter tax. We've got cloud taxes. We've got all kinds of. We want to build a casino. In terms of the size of the problem that Illinois is facing, based on your numbers, any of this stuff do you find persuasive from a policy perspective in terms of addressing the burdens that Illinois faces?
Well, as I said, you need to either bring more money in or take less money out. Obviously, both, bringing more taxes in does bring more money to the state. And, the big thing with the taxes is that, I kind of think that Illinois and Chicago residents have been paying, I know you're a low tax person, Dan, but, they have been paying too low in taxes to cover the size of government they have. And as you raise the taxes to cover these bills, then the taxpayers can hold their elected officials accountable and say, hold it, why is government so expensive? Why am I paying so much in taxes?
All right. She is Sheila Weinberg, founder of Truth in Accounting, truthinaccounting.org, statedatalab.org. Releasing today their annual financial state of the states report. Sheila, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And she joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
Hard choices.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Plenty of sunshine today for your back-to-work Monday, a high of 71 degrees. Tonight, clear and a low of 50, so you won't need your AC. And tomorrow, mostly sunny, just a gorgeous day, a high of 76. Let's get the travel time, see how the inbound Ike is shaping up. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Well, Amy and Dan, Chicago has big traffic to go along with big debt. It is an hour and a half to get from Thorndale to downtown on the inbound Eisenhower. It's an hour and 15 minutes from Mannheim. How about an hour and 10 minutes downtown to Thorndale? Kennedy's not any better, an hour and 5 minutes O'Hare to downtown over a shorter distance. How about a full hour still from downtown to the airport? Eden's, 35 minutes either way between Lake Hook and Montrose. The Stevenson, an hour and 8 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 55 minutes. The Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. And the tollways are messy. Tri-State southbound slow from 132 in Gurnee to past 137. Northbound 87th to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway, very slow from the Elgin Toll to 59. Jammed Gulf Road to Lee due to an earlier crash, and the Reagan Tollway has big delays. Orchard to Farnsworth with a crash on the right shoulder. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Hi, honey, I'm home. How was your day?
Oh, don't ask.
Why? What happened? Or do I not want to know?
Well, the new carpet in the living room is ruined. Your daughter decided to have a tea party with her Mr. Fluffy Bunny and his friends. Now there are stains everywhere.
I never did like Mr. Fluffy.
That's already on top of the stains your teenage son made last week when he tracked mud all over the kitchen tile and sofa after football practice.
My teenage son? Well, I guess I'll need to talk to him.
Honey, we need to call Executive Green Carpet Cleaning today.
Executive Green understands family and the mess that sometimes comes with it. If it's been more than a year since you've had your carpet, upholstery, or tile and grout cleaned, you need to call Executive Green at 708-599-5151. They use their own purified water and a safe EcoGreen solution that won't leave a toxic residue for your next tea party. Best of all is the price. Only $139 for 3 rooms. Call 708-599-5151 now or schedule online at executivegreencarpetcleaning.com.
My name is David Hochberg, and I'm Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. That's right, I'm now Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. I'm the same guy that's provided listeners with honest advice and outstanding customer service for the past 13 years. The only thing that's changed is where I work. When you had questions about purchasing a home, you called me and I helped you. When you and your parents had questions about reverse mortgages, you called me and I helped you. When you needed help refinancing to lower your mortgage payments so you could afford the home after your spouse passed away, you called me and I helped you. If you'd like to talk to me about a mortgage, give me a call at 312-751-1333. That's 312-751-1333. Email me, david@pearldavid.com. That's david at PERLDavid.com. Or visit my website, am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage is an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358, licensed by DBO under California RMLA, NMLS 19186, pearlmortgage.com licensing.
You are a sign business, you want to grow, and you want to make more money. So do I. I want to partner with you. This is Dave Carlson, and my sign company is Franco Carlson & Company. We've been doing business in Chicago since 1894. With millions of dollars of state-of-the-art equipment, we can do any job. Trade shows, bus and vehicle wraps, banners for special events, even custom wallpaper. We can help you expand your sign business. If there is an order, any order, or a piece of business that you don't have the capabilities to do yourself, we can do it with you. You don't have to turn away any sign or print business any longer. Speed and quality to meet your deadlines. You have my word on that. Expand your sign business. Take any order. Make more money. Become a partner with Franco Carlson & Company. Contact me for a quote or stop by for a tour of our shop. Franco Carlson & Company. We are the sign company's partner.
Call Franco Carlson & Company at 773-847-6900. 773-847-6900.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, we were talking to Sheila Weinberg from Truth in Accounting. Their annual financial state of the states report out finds Illinois third worst in the nation in terms of taxpayer friendliness. That should be a surprise to no one. But she quantified it, $45,000, write the check to the state of Illinois. That does not include, by the way, local, like city, county tax burdens or unfunded liabilities. If, for example, you live in Chicago, as we do, which you can probably double that $45,000 number.
I'd have to write a separate check to CPS.
Yeah,
Cook County.
Right.
Yeah.
All the major
City,
employers.
yeah.
All the major employers.
State,
Biggest
country.
employers in the state: government, state, city of Chicago, Cook County government, Chicago public school system. Brian and Lombard, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan. I think I talked to you about this at the
golf outing that what blows me away is that our school districts continue to give sweetheart pension deals to administrators in the midst of this crisis. The Trib reported on it earlier this spring that Glen Ellen's paid a 40-something percentage pay increase over the last 2 years to a recent Lombard West principal, causing them to pay $136,000 in this supplemental penalty or whatever you want to call it. So she got a $150,000 a year pension for the rest of her life. And so even today, we're still giving these pensions away that we can't afford.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Thanks for the call, Brian. And you have some school districts that are essentially sounding the alarm. We note the Prospect Heights School District, a grade school district, suffering their first strike in the history of that district. So at some point, the rubber is going to meet the roads. And, of course, one of the problems with school districts is you have this disconnect between the state conferring benefits and the school district in part financing them through these through as codified and collective bargaining agreements. Tom in Oswego. Hey, Tom.
Hi, good morning, Dan and Amy. I think what your guest fails to point out that there's a third alternative instead of raising taxes or spending less. It's called reform. I run a small business, and if I'm having problems with income or spending, I have to look at why there's a problem, and that's what we're not addressing. And so, like you said, the rubber's going to hit the road, and we either solve these problems now, or they're going to be thrown on us, and we're going to have to solve them the hard way pretty soon.
Oh, no.
And I wish
Thanks for the call, Tom. I appreciate it. I know that it's going to be the hard way. Make no mistake about it. With the leadership of this state at present, it is going to be the hard way. It is going to be the painful way. And let's, instead of using the rubber meets the road, let's use the phrase writing on the wall, especially with Pope Francis's imminent visit from the Book of Daniel, because the writing is on the wall, and Illinois is going to go the way of Babylon if we do not advance structural reforms of state government that impose these costs, as you suggest, Tom. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. Switching gears briefly here, why do rock stars die young?
The rock stars that I saw last Tuesday at the AC/DC concert were not going anywhere anytime soon. I think high energy. They were on key. They were great.
Angus Young and the Rolling Stones, I think, are the outliers because there's this study. Mm-hmm. This is a real source of a lot of academic research, and apparently a new study finds that pop musicians more broadly tend to live up to 25 years less on average than the rest of us. They have listen to these
because
numbers
of
too.
Sleep deprivation, Dan,
and other sorts of activities. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to this. This is some research by Diana Kenny, who's a professor at the University of Sydney. She finds, after examining life histories of more than 12,000 musicians across all popular genres who died between the years 1950 and 2014. Pretty substantial longitudinal study. More than 90% of those in that group were male. She found that in addition to having dramatically shorter lifespans, musicians 5 to 10 times more likely to die in an accidental death, like a drug overdose, and 2 to 7 more times likely to commit suicide. There's no evidence to substantiate the so-called 27 Club, Cobain, Winehouse, Janis Joplin. But there is a lot of evidence, apparently, to support the idea that they're living fast and dying young, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they're good. There's some interesting other research on this, too. Broadly speaking, every species faces a trade-off between survival and reproduction. So biologists who study life history speak of two broad strategies that different species pursue. K-selected, like elephants and other large mammals, like us, invest more parental resources and fewer offspring, or R-selected species like insects, which evolved in more unpredictable circumstances, so they invest more resources in making more offspring, often at the expense of their own survival, like Marlon Brando. Human beings generally fit into the K-selected model, but we're certainly capable of more R-selected strategies and sex drives depending on the environment we find ourselves. So the environment that can activate these fast life genes, the live fast, die young approach, include, for example, a father who hasn't invested much in caring for his children increases the likelihood that boys will live a fast life of delinquency and aggression, and that girls will employ shorter-term mating strategies, having learned not to count on men as long-term providers. Kind of interesting stuff. So it's not necessarily limited to rock stars, but essentially the study finds you put any of us in that position of the Kurt Cobain, for example, and we may not, obviously not every rock star pursued the Kurt Cobain strategy. We may not do it, but we're disproportionately likely to engage in a lot of the reckless behaviors and access sex, drugs, and all of the other trappings of pop stardom than is the normal person.
So what you're saying is every man is really just a rock star.
An aspiring rock star.
Hey, kids, your dad's a rock star.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
The secret to how the rich keep getting richer is by passing down their wealth generation to generation. If you do the same thing, you'll be leaving a legacy and be doing one of the most important things possible for the people you love. The ugly truth is if you don't have an estate plan, everything you own, including your house, cars, investments, everything could be tied up in courts for a year or longer. It could cost your estate tens of thousands of dollars in probate and legal fees, even double government taxation. You can avoid this painful, costly mistake by contacting Tom Fortino of the Alpha Wealth Group. Tom hosts the Alpha Wealth Hour, heard Saturday mornings at 9 here on AM 560 The Answer, and has been a featured expert on Fox Business, Fortune, and Money Magazine. Right now, Alpha Wealth Group is offering you a free estate planning kit if you call 630-873-6326. That's 630-873-6326. Once again, 630-873-6326.
There is something about the road that beckons, that invites us to pack up the family and leave the world behind. And there is something about an industry-leading unlimited mileage warranty on a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz that gives us the freedom to do exactly that. You take to the highway, rack up the miles for up to 3 years, and drive with the assurance that your Mercedes-Benz is covered. You have the security of being in a car that has been certified to Mercedes-Benz standards, while you enjoy a carefree ownership experience for miles and miles. But while the mileage is unlimited, your time to take advantage of our certified pre-owned sales event is not. Now through September 30th, you can also receive complimentary prepaid maintenance and your first 2 months payments on us on select models, plus 3 months of Sirius XM satellite radio. So hurry into your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer today and see why we say the odometer is there to record the memories.
See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for complete details and limitations on certified pre-owned warranties.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up next on Chicago's Morning Answer, a new day, a new proposed tax from Rahm Emanuel will explain.
And I realize that I'm more like a chimpanzee than I ever thought. We share an affinity for horror films. I'll explain why at 8:45.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say hello again to a man. I don't think you and I can't stand horror films. Nope. Yep. Well, here's Mike Scott.
Sunny and 60 degrees outside. Controversy swirling around Republican presidential candidate Dr. Ben Carson after saying he would not support having a Muslim president.
I would not advocate that we put a Muslim in charge of this nation. I absolutely would not agree with that.
South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, one of Ben Carson's Republican presidential opponents, believes the retired neurosurgeon needs to apologize.
This is an example to me that Mr. Carson may be a good doctor, but he is not ready to lead a great nation.
A new wildfire in Northern California already deadly. CAL FIRE says the fire that began in Monterey County on Saturday has destroyed several homes in the Carmel Valley and has burned 1,200 acres. This morning's commute for some Phoenix drivers may be less stressful now that a suspect in a string of freeway shootings is in jail on $1 million bond.
Based on my review of the information that has been provided to me, first of all, I do find that there is very sufficient probable cause regarding all of these crimes. I am going to impose a $1 million cash-only bond.
The judge set that bond for Leslie Merritt during a court appearance over the weekend. Some leaders are urging Pope Francis to avoid discussing key political and economic issues during his U.S. visit.
What he's trying to do is make this a better place, and that essentially is a religious action, bringing people to an understanding of their relationship to God and their relationship to one another.
On Fox News Sunday, Archbishop of Washington, Donald Cardinal Wuerl, Officials in DuPage County say they'll have more information later today on a man they've arrested on charges that he sexually assaulted and then stabbed to death a 15-year-old girl 30 years ago. A number of officers could be headed to Chicago's streets in the next year to help combat violence, as Mayor Emanuel's office says his department is planning to reassign 319 officers from administrative positions to the street. And teachers in Prospect Heights, District 23, remain on strike, leaving around 1,500 students out of the classroom for a fourth straight day. Chicago sports, Cleveland beat the White Sox 6-3. St. Louis over the Cubs 4-3. NFL at Soldier Field, the Cardinals over the Bears 48-23. The news, a service of Mothers Against Drunk Driving. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you are not alone. Call their 24-hour victim helpline, 877-MAD-HELP, or visit mad.org. 8:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
AM 560 has a new mobile app, and it can do a lot of cool things. The best thing it can do? It can send you on a vacation to paradise. Download or upgrade to the new AM 560 mobile app between now and October 9th, and you'll be able to enter to win an all-expenses-paid trip to Cancun for a week-long stay at the all-inclusive Secrets, the Vine Resort, courtesy of Apple Vacations. Just go to 560theanswer.com/mobile to get the app today and download Paradise. Presented by Permaseal.
What's football rich? It's delicious wings spun in your choice of 21 sauces and seasonings. Cold beers served right to your seat and catching all the football action. It's Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
Hey, watch out!
That was Steve Areno, your company's IT guy. Don't worry, he'll be okay. But it's safe to say that he'll be out of the office for a while. You actually managed to send Get Well Soon flowers to the hospital right before your computer network went down.
Turnkey IT understands that if your computer network is left unattended or unmonitored for any length of time, there can be serious implications to your business. It's time to say goodbye to relying on one person who may not always be there. Turnkey IT can handle all of your company's IT needs. Even if your passwords are as MIA as Steve Areno, they'll have their team ready 24/7. From instant network support to moving a wall jack or installing Wi-Fi, there's no limit to the advantages that Turnkey IT can provide your business. Don't wait to see the result of being held hostage by one IT guy. Let Turnkey IT set you free. Visit turnkey.pro today and get the professional protection you need without the technological nightmares. That's turnkey.pro.
8:36. Let's get an update on your ride to work in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. What a morning on the inbound Eisenhower. No crashes reported, but it's jammed. North Avenue most of the way to Ashland. It's an hour and 35 minutes from Thorndale to the post office. An hour 20 from Manheim. Outbound, it's an hour, post office to Thorndale. Eden's 35 minutes either way between Lake Cook and Montrose. The Kennedy, 55 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 45. Stevenson is an hour and 8 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 45 minutes. Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State Tollway, it is slow southbound, approaching 137, starting actually around 132. Northbound stop and go from the Stevenson to 31st and from the Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway, very slow from the Elgin Toll to 59 and jammed 53 to Lee after a crash. Reagan Tollway, heavy delays, Orchard to Farnsworth and Roosevelt to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorial, I-55 to the Reagan Tollway and Army Trail to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Pleasant day ahead, plenty of sunshine, 71. 56 at O'Hare, 60 along the lakefront. Winds are calm. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Executive Green Carpet Cleaning. For cleaner, brighter, and softer carpet, visit executivegreencarpetcleaning.com.
Hey, before you read about it on Facebook or Twitter, well, hear about it from your friends. Find out what today's big stories really mean with me, Sean Hannity, today at 2, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
312-562-5600 is our number. Another new day in Chicago, another new proposed tax. This one, it's being called a commuter's tax. And what Rahm Emanuel and, Dasan Ramfather and others want to do is charge suburbanites about $10 a day in order to commute into the city. So all of you suburbanites who work in Chicago, work in Chicago but live out in your leafy suburbs, we're going to have to pay a tax. But Dan, the question to you is, being a political insider and a strategist, how in the world, how is it feasible to collect $10 a day from commuters?
Political insider.
I'm
not in the inside of anything going on in this state. So this has been something that Ed Burke has been floating for a while because European cities like London do it, and so Ed Burke thinks it's a cosmopolitan idea. So, you essentially can monitor. You have people with transponders, like it's this kind of.
Is it kind of like iPass?
Similar to iPass, you can have cameras that monitor. London does do this, as is suggested.
So it would take place between 6 and 10 a.m. for the morning rush, and then between 3 and 6 p.m. for the evening rush period.
Yes, and so this is a way, could potentially reduce congestion. You'll have people migrate to public transportation like Metro, so it would be a boon to Metro.
So if you take Metro, this does not apply to you. This just applies to people driving into the city.
That's the proposal. So it's interesting. So this, would be in addition to the $40 a day you pay to park, for example, if you don't otherwise have a private parking lot. I wonder if this comes to pass. By the way, this is supposed to generate, it's another one of these tick, tick, tick taxes, generate $195 million a year.
Well,
Wow.
Since I'm so good at the math, Dan, $3.75 million a week. A week.
So $200 million a year, the unfunded pension liability for police and fire alone, $20 billion plus. Cloud tax, congestion tax, property tax increase, substantial, but not what is required if you're just going to tax your way out of this problem or attempt to. Garbage tax. The real shoe I'm waiting to see fall is a city income tax. Because other cities do that too, and if other cities of note are doing it, then Ed Burke is supportive of it. So New York City, Philadelphia, see a city income tax and see how that works out for a declining population in Chicago as well.
312-642-5600. Isn't this going to drive businesses away from setting up shop in the city? If you have a choice between, say, Schaumburg or Elk Grove Village to place your business, why wouldn't you do it there as opposed to go into the city? It would be another burden on your employees.
Well, the additional point is a lot. Look at the reverse commute. The reverse commute is the commute now. The commute out of the city as opposed to into the city. So, think about all the corporate campuses along the Northwest 90 corridor, along the I-88 corridor going out west. And will this incentivize more location out into the suburbs? Yes. The other thing it could do to the insulated mayor of different suburban communities, but I don't know that they'd want to do this because you don't want to disincentivize people from coming to your locality and spending money or working or starting a business. But some might. Is to say, okay, Tiny Dancer, you want to impose a tax on my commuters, my residents to commute to Chicago. Well, we can impose a tax on Chicago residents coming to Schaumburg, for example, or Hoffman Estates, or out west to Aurora. There could be a little bit of a domino effect as well. I'm not saying that it would happen. I'm not saying that it's good public policy. It would just be interesting to kind of go eye for an eye with Chicago's Tiny Dancer. Vin in St. Charles, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer and in line for a commuter tax.
They just can't wait to turn themselves into Detroit, can they? This would be the final. This would be the final straw. This would be the final nail in the coffin. I would like to congratulate the people who are running the city of Chicago. You finally put it over the top, and congratulations.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Vin. Also, a texter makes the additional point, 773, parking lot revenue would drop and parking lot tax revenue would drop.
Oh.
Yeah, so if you're a parking lot owner, you're not real excited about this prospect. And also to the 773's point, it's a static analysis. Here's how much money it will generate, but it doesn't contemplate the impacts. So people respond to policy changes, and so, for example, right, less parking lot revenue. Joe and Joliet, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
It was a great interview with that accountant. I would like to have her figure out how much we should have in our lockbox right now, as if we had been paying into it all along. What's that number? Like it's $18 trillion debt? How much do we need specifically, and how much do we have? That would be two numbers I would like to know.
Okay. Thanks for the call, Joe. I mean, we know at the state level alone, it's $45,000 per taxpayer.
Mm-hmm.
So you can start budgeting for that when the tax man comes calling. That's
You mentioned that London does this, and do they do it with the monitors similar to iPass? Is that how they get you?
Yeah, they have cameras that monitor zones, and drivers who don't pay are fined. So, I mean, this is in the age of Big Brother. This is fairly easy to track with the technological ability to track license plates en masse. So it's not. I don't think it's a functionality problem. I think it is a terrible public policy problem. And and also, it's just this. I go back again to say it's just this tick, 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 tick. We have to keep coming up with creative ways to segment people. So you have the concentrated benefits, diffuse costs issue. Not everybody commutes to the city, so we'll whack them. Not everybody buys cigarettes, so we'll whack them. It's kind of like the cigarette tax in a sense.
The sin tax.
You know what I would like?
Because it's a sin to drive.
Well, why not?
Yeah.
What I would like to see, and I said this over the weekend on the Illinois Rising show, I'd like to see somebody propose a ban on cigarettes. You want to separate politicians from their rhetoric? We're increasing sin taxes all the time. We're increasing taxes on cigarettes. We want to tax the vape, e-cigarettes, and all that. Well, why don't we just ban it altogether? If it's so bad for everyone, and you're interested in people's health, not just people as revenue centers for big government, then where's the proposal to ban cigarettes and e-cigarettes and all these other sinful objects altogether?
Alcohol, too.
Put politicians' rhetoric to the test, and this is another way to do it, too. It'd be interesting to see how suburban legislators would respond to this in terms of all the largesse that is drop shift from Springfield to the city of Chicago if they're going to oppose this tax.
Your buddy Marty Moylan, state rep from Des Plaines Democrat, he said that it's ridiculous, that it's counterproductive and ridiculous. And then, the mayor of Wheaton, Pleasantville, spoke out against it in Barrington Hills.
And David McSweeney, who's a state rep from Barrington Hills, also said it's a terrible idea. But what this really is another way to say we're not going to do the big structural reforms that I promised to do in the case of Tiny Dancer that we need to do. We're not going to do that. What we're going to do is try and tinker around the margins and just stave off oblivion for a little while longer until we figure out the next exciting and creative way to separate you from your money. That's the Chicago Democrat way.
The next way is they're going to tax the air you breathe.
Well, they're already taxing the cloud.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Here's your tax-free forecast. Plenty of sunshine, not a cloud in the sky, a high of 71 degrees tonight. Pleasant, clear, a low of 50. And for the next remainder of the week, we're just going to have beautiful weather around here. Plenty of sunshine and highs in the mid to upper 70s. Let's get the travel times on the roadways. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. No relief on the roads, including the Illinois tollways. The eastbound Adams Tollway I-90 is jammed right now due to an earlier crash at Lee Street. The delays currently start right around 53. Reagan Tollway, no fun either. Stop and go 31 to 59 at Roosevelt to the Tri-State Veterans Memorial. It's a mess from I-55 up to the Reagan Tollway and Army Trail to 290. On the expressways, the Eden still 35 minutes either way between Lake Cook and Montrose. The Kennedy, 55 minutes O'Hare to downtown, outbound 45. The Eisenhower, an hour and 35 minutes Thorndale to downtown, outbound 55 minutes. The Stevenson, an hour and 8 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, by comparison, it's light. It's 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Got a great night's sleep last night, all thanks to My Pillow from My Pillow. It conforms to my neck and back. It helps with chronic neck pain, insomnia, allergies. Plus, My Pillow is washable and it keeps its shape to give you support where you need it most. That's why it's named the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. American made, and over the last 18 months, thousands of you are enjoying your best sleep ever because of our buy one, get one free deal. But that still leaves thousands of you who haven't taken advantage of the buy one, get one free offer. What are you waiting for? It is so important to get a great night's sleep. Go to mypillow.com, type Amy in the promo code 2pillows for the price of one, or call this number 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201.
I'm Lex, CEO of Balance of Nature. At Balance of Nature, we believe in real communication. Whether you call into the office or hear a success story on the radio, you can be sure it's real, unsolicited, and unscripted conversation.
I really started it from an advertisement, more for my husband than for me, but I decided we should both take it, and I had gout in both my knees, and it's gone.
Well, that's a wonderful success story.
I know.
He had eczema on his hand, and it cracked for years. He did anything from doctor, every cream, everything. And 3 months on the veggies and fruit, it was gone.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code Chicago.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gevalis, Joshi, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Make it stop.
Take your stinking paws off my copies of the Saw movies, you damn dirty chimps. Chimpanzees love horror movies, too. They also become so engrossed in violent videos that they ignore tasty treats in front of them. I mean, it's
wow, that says a lot.
It's like reading from my autobiography. The chimpanzees may not recognize the music from Psycho or be able to discuss the finer points of The Exorcist, but they enjoy watching horror films when shown videos in which an actor dressed in a King Kong suit attacked a human or was bludgeoned with a hammer by a man. They watched the action intently. They didn't look away like many weak-kneed human moviegoers would.
I do. I don't care.
They watched all the blood go down the drain in Psycho.
Ugh.
They watched the morality plays that Jigsaw set up in the Saw movies. They enjoyed Michael Myers' handiwork in Halloween.
Have you watched all of those? Have
Yes.
you seen Halloween 12?
I don't think they got to 12, but yes, I have. I'm a big slasher movie fan. You know, some people listen to humpback whale mating calls to allow them to get to sleep. I have Saw movies on a continuous loop in my well-appointed condo. It's very soothing for me.
My son wanted me to see The Visitor this weekend, and the older one, because younger ones like me, we get scared of scary movies. That's the point. And I had him go see it with his grandparents, only to find out that in the movie The Visitor, the grandparents are the killers.
Yes.
And she thanked me, my ex-mother-in-law. She's like, yeah, nice recommendation. The grandparents were the killers.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Also, this video, the study that was done.
Yeah.
it finds that once they watch the video a second time, like when a man is going to take a hammer and put it to King Kong, they're looking at the hammer. So they're anticipating the guy grabbing the hammer, which is
they're anticipating the blow?
Apparently, Planet of the Apes was kind of a documentary or foreshadowing. So they're anticipating it.
So what does this all mean, Dan?
Also, chimpanzees, just on a related note, chimpanzees have been shown to act like humans in numerous other instances. Recently, they were found to routinely get drunk in the wild. So, I mean, again, it's the similarities are eerie, frankly.
Getting drunk and watching scary movies? What's next?
This is researchers in Japan, and, they have to worry about this because Godzilla could attack at any time.
Did they really show them King Kong?
Yeah. An actor dressed as King Kong attacking a human being and probably destroying Tokyo, too, while he was at it. It's a good horror movie with the kids. Like the scariest one, there's the slasher movies. That's one genre.
There's the Scream movies. That's another.
But a truly chilling, well done horror movie in the last couple of years that was really a well done movie. It wasn't just the Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Mike Myers, franchises. The Conjuring.
Oh, really? What's it about?
It's essentially like a sequel to Amityville Horror.
Oh.
It was really well done.
I didn't see Amityville Horror, and I'm not going to see that.
Well, get the kids around, invite some chimps over, and encourage you to watch it.
Get your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, if your company manufactures or markets pharmaceuticals, biologics, medical devices, or APIs, you know the challenges of systems integration, FDA compliance, and staffing. To gain access to Chicagoland's top life sciences engineering, quality assurance, project management, regulatory, software, and validation professionals, you need the experts at Automated Systems, Inc. All of ASI's resources are degreed professionals with decades of industry experience in manufacturing, automation, and FDA compliance. ASI is retained by all of Chicagoland's Fortune 500 life science companies to successful startups. For over a quarter of a century, ASI has excelled through a culture of execution and client success. For information about staffing or a no-obligation compliance or automation evaluation, call Laz at Automated Systems toll-free at 844-HIRE-ASI or visit AutomatedSYS.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI.
Upstream ideas.
Upstream.
We talk about the important issues that affect your world on this show, like the economy, education, foreign policy, chimps watching horror movies. But there's not always time to drill down, talk about the big ideas behind chimps watching horror movies. It's one of the reasons I'm involved with a new website, along with the Illinois Policy Institute, called Upstream Ideas, online at upstream-ideas.com. You can get highlights from Sunday's Illinois Rising show this morning on upstream-ideas.com. You'll also find info that will inform the policy discussions we're having here on this show and elsewhere. At Upstream Ideas, we broaden the parameters of debate and move beyond the same old partisan assumptions. We challenge accepted orthodoxies and debunk some of the faulty premises that inform the rules on which our free society is based. In other words, we're pushing against the current and thinking upstream. We'll ask, why are conditions the way they are, and how can those conditions be improved? Not with a commuter tax. So go online now to upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. With each visit to Upstream Ideas, you'll be armed with info and perspectives to spur you on to make the state of Illinois and the good old USA a bit more free, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized.
If the battery pack in your hybrid fails, that can be a huge unexpected expense. Dan Proft here for Midwest Performance Cars. In addition to complete maintenance and repair of European automobiles, Midwest Performance Cars is a certified hybrid shop location. Their technicians have undergone extensive training and can test and recondition your Toyota or Honda hybrid battery pack at a price hundreds less than your dealer. MPC can also perform a comprehensive pre-purchase inspection on hybrid vehicles and provide an accurate assessment of the health of your hybrid battery pack. The longevity of battery packs is a known drawback of a hybrid vehicle. Midwest Performance Cars offers an exclusive technology that can restore your battery to over 95% of its original performance. Take your hybrid to the dealership with a check engine light and they'll probably tell you that you need a new battery, costing you $3,000 to $5,000. With MPC's battery conditioning technology, you could potentially save up to 50%, keeping thousands of dollars in your pocket. They're located in Chicago's West Loop at the corner of Lake and Ogden. Free Lyft and Uber shuttle service available. Online at MidwestPerformanceCars.com. Midwest Performance Cars, the dealer alternative, an expert source for European auto maintenance and repair.
Meet Lawrence, Rachel, and Pam. They're making serious money on their schedule driving with Uber.
I was looking for something that was convenient and something that would help me to reach my financial goals.
The first time I turned the app on was because I was going to visit my sister and thought I should probably make some extra cash so that when I'm on my trip, I'll have spending money. And then I had $400.
With Uber, you can write your own paycheck. It's just that simple. If you want to go out and make $20 a day, you can. If you want to go out and make $500 a day, it's up to you.
I love the convenience of it. I log on when I'm available and log off when I'm not, and it's very, very easy to do.
You sign up, and you start earning money right away. Right away, like the next day.
Just get in your car and you drive. But I like driving my car.
Turn it off when you want to make money, you turn it off when you don't.
This is the best decision I made. It's a no-brainer, really.
What are you waiting for?
Thanks, folks. To start making great money with your car, sign up to drive today at drivewithuber.com. That's drivewithuber.com.
Well, we've had a wonderful and informative time this morning in our AM 560 The Answer studios. Our thanks to David Stripling, technical producer, and Cesar Perez, the executive producer.
Shake and bake.
And thanks as you, as always, for listening and making us a part of your morning. We'll see you back here at 5 a.m.
Bye,
first,
Felicia.
Yes, bye, Felicia. But first, let's say hello to Mike, and he joins us in our newsroom now. Good morning, Mike.
Amy and Dan, here are the stories we're watching right now. A teacher strike continues in the Prospect Heights district. CPS school chief says the district will have to issue layoff notices by Thanksgiving. We'll tell you why. Jay Cutler leaves the Bears game with an injury. WIND Chicago News Time is 9 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. Russia's main goal is to protect the Syrian state. That's what President Putin has told Israel's leader at a meeting in Moscow as Benjamin Netanyahu worries Iran through Syria's army is trying to build another terrorist.
If you get those Buffalo News reports, I can't believe they had access to that rape kit evidence. Jesus, so graphic. What about Pamela Geller, who loves me? She makes for some interesting radio. Not as well known as Diamond and Silk, but they were good, huh? They were good. What comedy troupe do you two belong to?
Then we're going to reach out to Professor Robert George and
Anthony Esselin. Also, the guy, I sent you the piece from the New York Post.
Yes.
Maybe somebody on the commuter tax.
Who should we get? I mean, that state rep in Barrington Hills? Is he good?
I don't know if we just do a legislator or a mayor.
David McSweeney?